Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to Global Online University. As you all are aware that your exams are nearby, and we at Global Online University has decided to help you out with the videos for entire communication unit, which will be consisting of more than 250 expected MCQs on the unit communication. In short, it will be like a complete revision for you all. You can watch this video in two parts in order to revise your entire communication unit. And we assure you that definitely this video will help you to secure maximum marks in your communication unit. At the same time, it will help you to boost your confidence for the upcoming examination. Adding to this, we at Global Online University have a complete course for paper 1. New batches for the same has been started. Now, you can download an application that is Global Online University. After downloading this application, you have to select the category as UGC NET Paper 1, or you can also join our paid WhatsApp group. The contact details are on the screen and the contact number is 9743105335. Now, what is the benefit of this? You will be getting 60 full syllabus test. Now, these tests are online tests, and these tests will help you to give you a preparation as well as a practice like your final examination. Apart from this, it will also help students with syllabus notes, full syllabus notes covering every unit and every topic of your syllabus. Not only this, we also have the facility of video lectures, and these video lectures will be clearing the concepts of every topic and every unit of your paper 1. So now, without wasting much time, let's start with our MCQs, that is for the unit communication. So let's go ahead.
Let's start with the day. All the best to everyone. Let's go with question number 1. Every communicator has to experience manipulated emotions, anticipated excitement, the issue of homopiles, status dislocation. So kindly focus on the question. Here they are asking about the communicator and the experience. So definitely we will go with the usual method of downsizing the options which are not nearby to the question. So communicator will never manipulate the emotions. It's not possible. He will never do a status dislocation, which is, it's a system, okay, or a process. He would never go with an issue of homopiles because it will be consisting only of a community. But when we talk about anticipated excitement, yes, because that is a feeling due to happening of something. Like, for example, the feeling before your mock test series, which started right now, the feeling before your exam, the feeling before your display of results. So the answer for this question is correct option is option number B. स्टूडेंट्स हिंदी मीडियम वाले स्टूडेंट्स आपके क्वेश्चंस भी हिंदी में रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहे हैं, सो आप भी क्वेश्चंस को साथ साथ पढ़ के सारे रूल्स आपके लिए भी सेम है एंड यू कैन जस्ट speed up with your practice. Let's go for question number 2. Instructions which encourage live participation and interaction through online classes. यानी जो भी इंस्ट्रक्शंस ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में दी जाती है उस इंस्ट्रक्शंस को क्या बोला जाता है? सिंक्रोनियस इंस्ट्रक्शंस, असिंक्रोनियस इंस्ट्रक्शंस, ट्रेडिशनल इंस्ट्रक्शंस, थियोरेटिकल. अभी इंस्ट्रक्शंस है और लाइव है, ऑनलाइन लाइव क्लासेस, सो ऑब्वियसली ट्रेडिशनल तो होंगे नहीं, theoretical bhi honge nahi. So it depends. Now these are the two options which are left, synchronous and asynchronous. When it is a live classes and when the instructions are going live, those instructions are called as synchronous instructions. So the right option for this question is option number A, that is synchronous instructions. Let's go to question number 3. In the context of communication, usual sequences, whenever the communication takes place, तो यूजुअल सीक्वेंस कौन सा होता है? नाउ मे बी आपको थोड़ा सा लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल ये क्वेश्चन पढ़ के कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है, सो जस्ट फोकस ऑन द क्वेश्चन. इट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट द कम्युनिकेशन एंड इट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट द सीक्वेंस यानी ऑर्डर, द लॉजिक, ओके, द लॉजिकल ऑर्डर. तो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट कम्युनिकेशन, ऑब्वियसली कम्युनिकेशन से होना है तो कम्युनिकेशन से ही स्टार्ट होना चाहिए. So communication, so here we do not have an option of language which will get cancelled. So we have two options with us. Okay, let's see now. So when we are talking about communication, obviously सबसे पहले क्या use होगा? Language. फिर होगा which will be conveyed to the society, that is in the form of civilized way. So the option number 3 is the right answer for this question. That is, your correct answer is option number 3. Next is your question number 4, which is based on assertion and reasoning. So yes, इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस को आपको कैसे सॉल्व करना है? You don't have to consider yourself in the situation. आपको सिर्फ क्वेश्चंस पढ़ने हैं और उस क्वेश्चन को ही उस रीजन से एनालाइज करना है. आपको आपके पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू को कंसिडर नहीं करना है. You have to focus on the assertion and the given reason. So the question is, assertion is टीचर कम्युनिकेशन इज सेंट्रल टू द क्लासरूम मैनेजमेंट. यानी अगर टीचर को क्लासरूम मैनेज करना है, टीचर का कम्युनिकेशन स्टैंडर्डाइज या सेंट्रल होना चाहिए. Yes, this option is right because classroom में बहुत सारे different ways, different attitudes, beliefs, customs के बच्चे होते हैं, तो centralized होना चाहिए. Now, what reason they have given for this? Teacher communication behaviors should not be used to regulate the classroom behavior of the students. Should not be used. क्लासरूम में एग्जैक्टली रोल टीचर का क्या है? बहुत सारे रोल्स है, बट उसमें से एक इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है टू रेगुलेट द क्लासरूम बिहेवियर. तो ऑब्वियसली सेंट्रलाइज्ड मैनेजमेंट तो होना ही चाहिए, बट द रीजन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट नो. सो डेफिनेटली दिस कैन नॉट बी द ट्रू ऑप्शन. सो अगर जहां पे आर ट्रू है, वो ऑप्शन हमारा ऑप्शन वो राइट है ही नहीं. Okay, so if you see, all the option gets cancelled. So your correct option is option number 4, that is A is true and R is false. That is, your right answer is option number 4. Next question. Again, it's on assertion and reason. Meaning of messages used in the classroom are arbitrary in nature. Okay, so what is the meaning of arbitrary? That is personal whims, or it is called as a random choice. Okay, personal hai. The meaning of messages used in the classrooms are arbitrary in nature. That is personal. उसका रीजन क्या दिया है? मीनिंग्स आर लर्न्ड एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ वंस प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस. यानी हमारा प्रायर एक्सपीरियंस वंस तो पर्सनल है, सो डेफिनेटली इट विल डिपेंड अपॉन व्हाट? इट विल डिपेंड अपॉन आवर पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस इटसेल्फ. तो ए एंड आर दोनों ट्रू है. सो व्हाट इट इज फॉल्स, इट्स इट्स कैंसल आउट. तो दोनों ट्रू है, तो फर्स्ट और सेकंड में से कौन सा ऑप्शन राइट हो सकता है? बट हमने ये भी पढ़ा कि ट्रू तो है, बट आर इज ऑल्सो द प्रॉपर रीजन फॉर व्हाट? इट्स अ प्रॉपर रीजन फॉर ए. सो इफ यू सी हियर द ऑप्शन नंबर ए, that is the first option is the right answer. Next question is again based on assertion and reason. Classroom communication has a cultural dimension. Okay, अभी culture का मतलब क्या है? रीड द रीजन. ऐसे अगर ऐसे सिचुएशन आता है जब आपको assertion समझ में नहीं आता है, सो बेटर बिफोर मेकिंग एनी कंक्लूजन आप पहले रीजन रीड करो. So reason is what? Beliefs, habits, customs and language are the cultural characteristics of communication. So culture comprises of what? Culture comprises of beliefs, habits, customs and languages. So yes, this is the correct option. Okay, so statement A is true. Okay, R is also true. तो जहां false होगा आप उसको cancel कर दो. ओके, लेकिन यहाँ पे मैंने क्या बोला है? ट्रू है और उसका एक्सप्लेनेशन भी राइट है. सो योर ऑप्शन नंबर ए इज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, दैट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 7. Connotative communication inside the classroom is what? Is it direct, critical, implicit or explicit? Now in such question, first of all आपको ये question करने के लिए आपको connotative का meaning पता होना चाहिए. It's nothing but it is called as the secondary word which expresses the emotions or idea. That is communication है ना, तो वो express करता है. So जब भी मैंने बोला secondary का मतलब है which is which comes after the primary part. Okay, तो ये कैसा है? It's indirect. सी उसका जो इम्पैक्ट है वो पॉजिटिव भी हो सकता है, वो नेगेटिव भी हो सकता है. नाउ डोंट थिंक कि कम्युनिकेटिव कम्युनिकेशन जो कम्युनिकेशन है वो नेगेटिव है या पॉजिटिव है. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द सिचुएशन. लेकिन वो कौन से टाइप का कम्युनिकेशन है? इट्स अ सेकेंडरी कम्युनिकेशन. सो कैसे होगा उसका how it will be inside the classroom? Is it direct? Is it critical? Is it implicit or it is explicit? तो सेकेंडरी है, इसका मतलब वो डायरेक्ट होगा ही नहीं. ओके, एक्सप्लिसिट का मीनिंग डायरेक्ट है, वो क्रिटिकल होगा भी नहीं. सो द राइट आंसर फॉर दिस इज इट इज इम्प्लिसिट. Okay, let's move to question number 8. Now, question number 8 talks about communication through colors can result in. Now, communication with the help of colors. So, somewhere it tells about what ki wo non-verbal communication hai. Okay, now the options are aesthetic codes, cultural codes, semantic codes, binary codes. Binary codes hoga nahi. Okay, it's not a computer language. Semantic ye logical hai nahi. When it comes about colors, it talks about what? Appreciation. It talks about beliefs. It talks about values. So definitely it is option number 1 and option number 2. So if you see the right answer for this option, this question is your option number B. Okay. Question number 9. Variables that affect the information processing in a classroom are. यानी जो क्लासरूम में वेरिएबल्स यूज होते हैं that affect the information, वो कैसे होते हैं? They are what? Are they the perception levels? Are they the learned habits? Are they the attitudes, beliefs, and values? Are they the selective factor? Okay, or are they the market expectation, or are they institutional intervention? So maybe आपको नहीं समझा है, just go to the question once again. Variables that affect the information processing in classroom. Information in classroom किस वजह से affect हो सकता है? So अगर आपको question confuse कर रहा है, just catch the catchy words. एक तो है आपका information, दूसरा है classroom. यानी आप बच्चों से interact कर रहे हो, तो उस particular interaction में क्या सबसे ज्यादा affect हो सकता है? Obviously, market expectation होगा नहीं. Institutional intervention hoga nahi. Okay, so just go through this 4 options again. Perception, yes. Habits, yes. Attitude, belief, yes. And selectivity यानी कि कौन से communication idea को लेना है और कौन से ideas को eliminate करना है. So if you see your options, that is option number 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to select 1, 2. So 5 is not there. So just cancel the 5. So बचता है कौन सा आपका option number 4. So option number 4 is see market expectation होगा ही नहीं. So wherever the option 5 is there, just cancel it out. सबसे ज़्यादा easy है ये method. So option number 4 is your right answer. Then we have next question of assertion and reason. Selective exposure in the classroom is dependent on students' perception and knowledge about the source of information. The reason is the effectiveness of the communication source determines the selective exposure of the students to information. So this is the option for you. तो सिलेक्टिव एक्सपोजर यानी अगर हम किसी के कम्युनिकेशन को सुनते हैं लाइक यहाँ पे स्टूडेंट और टीचर के बीच है ना, वो किस पे डिपेंड होता है? स्टूडेंट्स परसेप्शन एंड नॉलेज अबाउट द सोर्स, कि कौन सा विच टाइप ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन हैज टू बी परसीव्ड इन व्हाट वे. So yes, it is dependent on student only because the effectiveness of this source determines the selective exposure of the students. So yes, the question that is both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation for A because ultimately the one who is the receiver, जो students है, वो उन पे depend करता है कौन से information को कैसे perceive करे, कैसे absorb करे, और उसमें से कौन सा what type of benefit can be taken out. Okay. Please remember, this question is very, very important. I mean to say, iska jo understanding hai, wo important hai. Like for example, many a times we tell that we do not listen to the lecture. Understanding ki lecture boring hai, or ya lecture samajh nahi raha hai. Lekin agar aap usko theek se sunoge, everything which is coming to you, okay, has something learning, has a learning lesson out of it. So it depends upon your exposure. Agar aap usko, if you deny to listen, obviously आपके लिए वो कुछ effective होगा ही नहीं. So that is the meaning of this question. Now let's go to question number, that is the option for this question, as I said, is option number 1, a correct option. Let's go to question number 11. In the context of email, okay, what is spam? Now we know we get a spam mails, okay, so spam को क्या बोला जाता है? Okay, now actually spam mails are those mail, okay, if you see the options, the act of overloading an email server by denial of service attacks, email messages that are infected with viruses, A large quantity of e-messages do not reach the recipient. Unsolicited advertising sent to a large number of recipients. So if you know कि spam क्या है, ये question बहुत ही easy है. Spam is nothing but, it is called of, it is like a message, okay, or a mail which we didn't ask for, but still it falls in our mailbox. So हम जिसके जो हम पूछ नहीं रहे हैं फिर भी वो हमारे पास आ जाते हैं. So such type, उसके लिए अगर एक one word use करें, so it is called as unsolicited advertising. Okay, जिसकी हमें जरूरत नहीं है, but still it gets into our mailbox. So spam is what? Unsolicited advertising sent to a large number of recipients. So that is your option number 4 is the right answer. In a classroom, probability of message reception can be enhanced by, like for example, the meaning of this question is classroom में क्या chances है कि message, okay, reception is enhanced by what? किस चीज से वो ज्यादा enhance हो सकता है? Exposing the ignorance of the students, ये negative है, तो definitely it is not possible. Increasing the information load, नहीं होगा, because आप जितना information load बढ़ाओगे, it will be difficult for the student to digest, so it is not possible. Using high decibel audio tools, it's not at all possible, because it definitely there is a capacity for a noise decibels, so this is not the correct answer. So establishing a viewpoint can be the probability. Whenever you give a receptant a viewpoint establishment, the chances for the message reception becomes high. Enhanced, it means it becomes high. So you have your option number 4 as the correct answer. The spatial video audio reproduction in the classroom can reduce the students. Okay, when we talk about an audio reproduction, okay, now spatial audio reproduction ये कैसे होता है? It is it's in 360 degree angle. जब बच्चों को 360 degree angle में message pass होता है, so what happens? What it produces? Respect for the teacher? Definitely not. Motivation for excellence? No, it does not. Interest in technology orientation? No. Cognitive load in understanding. Now see, as I said, जो message बच्चों को दिया जाता है, that is spatial audio which we call, it is creating a sound in 360 degree angle, sub from all the angles, from all the corners. So it becomes easier for a student, for a child, that cognitive load in understanding, यानी जो mental capacity understanding की वो थोड़ी ज़्यादा बढ़ जाती है. So this is the correct answer. That is option number 4 is the correct answer for your given question. The next is a good communicator begins with his or her presentation with a what. Now, like for example, आपको ये question नहीं पता. Okay, now see, in such type of questions, maybe आपको non-sequitur, repetitive phrase, ice break या complex question नहीं पता. Okay, अभी यहाँ पे क्या दिया है? A good communicator. Good communicator कभी भी complex question नहीं use करेगा. It's simple. Okay, repetitive phrase नहीं use करेगा. See, good communicator, it means he is strong with his communication skills, his presentations, his way of dealing the audiences. Okay, so now whenever a stranger stands in front of him, you are not ready to open up, या तो डर है, or you are not able to understand. So जभी भी ऐसे situation होता है, a communicator always try to make the audiences comfortable. जैसे like for example, teacher enters the class for the first time. Okay, so teacher knows that she's interacting with the students for the first time, so teacher wants to create that bonding, that comfortable zone, so that the students speak up. Okay, so in that sense, a communication always should start with a icebreaker. Icebreaker, it means that it's like creating an environment of comfort and then allowing the students to speak. इससे impact बहुत अच्छा होता है और positive होता है. So the answer for this question is option number C. Next question, the classroom communication should be essentially. Classroom communication कैसे होना चाहिए? Okay, when we are talking about classroom communication, abstract, in short, nahi. Okay, non-descriptive, definitely not. Contrived, it's not. It means that these are all negative qualities. तो क्लासरूम कम्युनिकेशन हमेशा कैसे होना चाहिए? एम्पैथेटिक. इट मींस वेयर इट इज सपोर्टिव, वेयर इट इज पोलाइट, वेयर इट गिव्स you give an attention to the either, like for example, to the children, to the student. So it creates a positivity, or rest of the options are negative, like towards negative. So the classroom communication should always be empathetic. Okay, that is your option number 1 is your correct option. The next question which we have is question number 16. When verbal and non-verbal messages are contradictory, यानी दोनों में confusion है, different है, तो हमेशा people किस पे believe करते हैं? Interdeterminate messages, verbal messages, non-verbal messages, aggressive messages. Now, obviously, aggressive messages, it's not possible. Interdeterminate इसका मतलब आपको doubt है थोड़ा सा, it's not possible again. Verbal or non-verbal. Okay, now many a times there is a confusion in these questions. Please listen. Whenever action speaks great, actions are more greater than the words, speaks more than the words. So always such type of messages में सिर्फ non-verbal messages people believe at. People believe at non-verbal messages. So here your option number 3 is the right answer. Okay, next, the typical feature of an information-rich classroom lecture is in the nature of being. यानी कोई भी classroom का typical feature of with respect to information, which type of information students seek. तो यहाँ पे आपको सबसे ये बेस है, ये कम्युनिकेशन के सब्जेक्ट का बेस है. Students go either for sedentary, staggered, factual, or sectorial. So if you know, students always, nowadays the generation always looks for a factual message, facts. They believe in facts. Imagination se zyada unko they need to have a strong base to believe on some message. So that this type of messages, the information rich classroom lecture is always to be in the nature of what? It will be in the nature of factual information. Next, expressive communication is driven by. So when you are talking about expressive communication, now see expressive. When we talk about expressive communication, इसमें बहुत सारे factors आते हैं. Okay, like for example, your facial expressions, your volume, your pitch, your body language, your gestures. So there are a lot of things. Okay, तो अगर आप options देख रहे हो, passive aggression, encoder's personality characteristics, external clues, encoder decoder contract. Now if you read the question carefully, passive तो होगा नहीं, okay, expressive है तो passive तो दोनों opposite है. External clues होगा नहीं, it is communicated, okay, so clues तो होंगे नहीं. Contract से there is no question of contract, so it is about personality. I told you, expressive communication में बहुत सारे factors consider होते हैं, जैसे आपके gestures है, eye contact है, body language है, so it is all about the encoder's personality. So your option number 2 is the right answer. Question number 19. Positive classroom communication leads to. यानी अगर classroom communication positive है, so it leads to what? Coercion, confrontation, submission, persuasion. Okay, so always remember, whenever there is a positive classroom, okay, this the 3 options are not a nearby options. Okay, it always leads to persuasion. Okay, ensuring that you persuade your child either to create an interest in the subject, interest in studies, interest in their overall personality development. So positive classroom communication हमेशा persuasion का characteristics disclose करता है. That is option number 4 is your right answer. Next, classroom communication is the basis of what? Classroom communication is the basis of social identity, external inanities, bias passivity, group aggression. Okay, so if you read the question very carefully, okay, these are all the negative things which are not possible. So if your classroom communication always help the child to create his social identity by transforming his personality, overall personality. So it helps in what? It helps in social identity. Okay, question number 21. Effective communication presupposes. Now, what is the meaning of presupposes? अगर आपको इसका meaning if you know the meaning very well, आप immediately answer कर सकते हो. Presupposes का मतलब है which helps you to know, which helps you to understand. Okay, so effective communication कभी भी domination नहीं लाएगा, non-alignment नहीं लाएगा. Okay, or effective communication cannot bring passivity. So effective communication only helps to what? It helps for understanding. Okay, so option number 4 is the right answer. Then, in communication process, signs derive meaning through. In communication process, signs के meanings, okay? किससे? With the help of what? Okay, here, subjectivity of components, objectivity of the decoder, network of interrelation, neutrality of the channel. So we are talking about signs. So obviously subjectivity or objectivity आएगा नहीं. Okay, channel neutral नहीं होगा. So it is what? It's because of the network interrelations. So the right answer for this is option number C, network interrelation. This is a recent, this question was in a recent year. तो ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा this is maybe first time आप देख रहे हो, तो ये recent year का क्वेश्चन है. Okay, so you just have to understand कि science derive करना है process में, तो it happens because of what? It happens because of network of interrelations. Next question. What do communicated words carry in a classroom situation? Classroom में जो word communicate होते हैं, okay, उससे students को क्या मिलता है? What type of situation does it create? Okay, now read the question properly और आप है ना पहले options पढ़ो. Inspiration, controversy and introspection, diversion, criticism and irrationality, insipidity, irrationality and non-acceptance, पावर स्ट्रक्चर ट्रेडिशन. ओके, अगर आप अभी देखोगे क्लासरूम कम्युनिकेशन सिचुएशन, कम्युनिकेटेड वर्ड्स सिचुएशन कैसे क्रिएट करता है? कंट्रोवर्सी होगा नहीं, बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. वी कीप आवर चिल्ड्रन अवे फ्रॉम दिस. क्रिटिसिज्म, वी डू नॉट टीच आवर चाइल्ड. ओके, इंसिपिडिटी और इरैशनैलिटी एंड नॉन एक्सेप्टेंस, अगर नॉन एक्सेप्टेंस हम बच्चों को नहीं सिखाते, इंसिपिडिटी का मतलब होता है बोरिंग, तो वो दैट वी डोंट try, we bring enthusiasm. So it is power, structure and tradition. Now see, इसमें आपको concepts पता होने चाहिए, meanings at least. Controversy आपको पता है, criticism आपको पता है. ये question में भी insipidity आपको नहीं पता, but हम बच्चों को तो non acceptance नहीं सिखाते हैं. So it should give power, structure and tradition. So here your question, that is option number D, is the right option for the question. So just आपको बहुत carefully question पढ़ना है और options. आपके आंसर्स आपके सामने ही रहते हैं. You just have to show your alertness of mind. Okay, words को ठीक से पढ़ के try to ensure that your judgment comes properly. Next, as a good classroom communicator, you are supposed to know your. अभी आपको अगर आप एक good communicator हो, okay, तो आपको क्या पता होना चाहिए? Audience emotions, silent clues, artful pauses and counter arguments. Okay, audience emotions, but आपके audiences same नहीं होंगे, और emotions, maybe people are faking the emotions, तो ये option नहीं होगा. Silent clues, it's not possible. We have to deal with 50 to 60 students in a class, so it's not possible. Counter arguments, no. Pauses, तो आप artful pauses, यानी आपको कहाँ pause लेना है, कहाँ रुकना है, कितना रुकना है, how to bring back your child to the to the lessons. So this is an art and you should know about this if you are a good classroom communicator. So your right answer is answer number C, artful pauses. Next, figure out the components of. Components का मतलब होता है factors. Non-verbal communication in a classroom. Abhi non-verbal communication. Don't jump to the answer. Read all the options carefully. Facial expression, cultural space and sitting arrangement, speed of utterance, feel-good factor and octosius, high sound, physical ambience and teacher-learner distance, facial expression, kinesis and personal space. तो अभी अगर आप देख रहे हो facial expression, cultural space, sitting arrangement does not text non-verbal, तो ये नहीं होगा. Speed of utterance, feel good factor, acoustics. Now this does not shows utterance यानी बोलना, so this does not shows any non-verbal communication clue. High sound, physical ambience and teacher learning distance. It does not show any any type of non-verbal communication. So facial expressions, okay, kinesis, that is distance and the personal space, shows you what? The components of non-verbal communication. So here, your option number D is the right option for the question. Next, which of the following are the basic factors of effective listening? Okay, so opinion, that is opinionation, stare and glare and interruptions, aggressive questioning, continuous cues and frequent movement, Metoism, glancing sideways and offering advice, acknowledgement of thoughts, reflection, and asking open-ended questions. So out of this, which is the effective listening, factor for effective listening? Okay, interruptions nahi hoga, listening effective nahi hoga, uh, aggressive questioning effective नहीं होगा, metoism इफेक्टिव नहीं होगा, और ऑफरिंग एन एडवाइस भी नहीं होगा इफेक्टिव. इफेक्टिव होने के लिए आपके थॉट्स का को एक्नॉलेज होना चाहिए, उसका रिफ्लेक्शन होना चाहिए, ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस होने चाहिए, then only your listening can be effective. This is also the recent question in the final of the NET examination. So just ensure that how the question, see, you know these things, but you should know what type of option is the best possible option. So here the option number D is the best possible option. The choice of communication partners is influenced by. Now see, आपके communication partners की choice किस factor से influence होती है? Proximity, utility, loneliness, utility, secrecy, dissonance. Dissonance का मतलब होता है disagreement. Secrecy, dissonance, deception. Dissimilarity, dissonance and deviance. अगर आपको इसके वर्ड्स नहीं पता है, लेकिन आपको dissonance का मतलब, see, you should know your terms very well. Dissonance का मतलब है disagreement. अगर आपके पार्टनर, communication partner में हमेशा अगर disagreement होगा, definitely things are not going to work out. So if you see, all the option goes wrong. Okay, your correct option is proximity, utility and loneliness. Okay, so this is option number A is your right answer. See, please try to understand. You should know the meanings well. तो आपको easy हो जाता है options cut करने के लिए, and you come very near to the close option. Then, languages of communication also constitutes. Communication के जो language होते हैं, it constitutes of what? Random world? नहीं, random तो नहीं हो सकता है. Social world, divine world, unsanified world. So divine नहीं हो सकता है, unsanified नहीं हो सकता है. It's about the society, the social world. So communication, it's about what? It's about the society, the social world. So option number 2 is your right answer. Let's go to next question. Imagine you are working in an educational institution. आप एक educational institute में job कर रहे हो, where people are of equal status, the way you are. Which method of communication is best suited and normally employed in such context? Equal status का मतलब है same position. तो अगर आप एक educational institute में काम कर रहे हो and you are working with the people of same position, yani same line, okay, same line of your position. So such type, see, I have given you the answer in my diagram itself. So such type of communication is called what? Horizontal, vertical, corporate or cross. Same line बोला है तो cross हो ही नहीं सकता है. It's an educational institution, corporate हो ही नहीं सकता है. So same line, hierarchy नहीं बोला है. So obviously vertical नहीं हो सकता है. Vertical होता था तो it will be like that, hierarchy. But यहाँ पे same line बोला है, so it is horizontal. It's a horizontal communication. Option number A is your right answer. Next question. Identify the important element of a teacher has to take cognizance of what while addressing students in a classroom. कौन से element को teacher को consider करना पड़ेगा while addressing the students in the classroom. So whether it is avoidance of proximity, in a distance कम करना, voice modulation, okay, or it is repetitive pauses, or it is fixed posture. Fixed posture होगा नहीं because teacher has to keep on moving in the class. Repetitive pauses होंगे नहीं, students will get annoyed. Avoidance of proximity, no, there has to be a proper distance, standard distance. So the option here, the correct answer is a voice modulation. Teacher has to take, consideration of voice modulation while addressing the students in the classroom. So option number B is your right answer. Next question. What are the barriers of effective communication? Barriers. I hope everyone knows the meaning of barriers. Barriers ka matlab hai which can bring obstacles in communication. So moralizing, being judgmental, and comments on consolation, dialogue, summary, and self-review, use of simple words, cool reaction, and defensive attitude, personal statement, eye contact, and simple narration. So what are the barriers? See, आप क्वेश्चन ठीक से रीड करो. बैरियर्स, ऑब्स्टिकल. अगर आप इस ऑप्शंस पढ़ते हो, सेल्फ रिव्यू, ये तो अच्छी बात है. यूज ऑफ सिंपल वर्ड्स, अच्छी बात है. पर्सनल स्टेटमेंट, आई कांटेक्ट, अच्छी बात है. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रॉब्लम्स. सो जजमेंटल होना, मॉरलाइजिंग करना, इट्स नॉट गुड. बट ये इन्होंने यही पूछा है, बैरियर क्या हो सकता है? दैट इज योर ऑप्शन, फर्स्ट ऑप्शन. सो ऑप्शन नंबर ए इज योर राइट आंसर. Coming to your next question, that is aspects of voice other than speech. Other aspects of voice, क्या उसको बोलते हैं? That is called as physical language, personal language, para language, delivery language. Physical तो होगा नहीं, personal होगा नहीं, delivery language hoga nahi. So it is para language. It's nothing but it's a meta communication. It means it's like a secondary communication. So it is called as what? Para language. This is also a recent question. So just recent question se uske aap notes banao. So it will be helpful for you in the upcoming examination. That is right answer is option number C. Now, every type of communication is affected by its reception, transmission, non-regulation, context. So when we are talking about communication किससे affect हो सकता है? Definitely reception से नहीं, transmission से नहीं, non-regulation नहीं, but context. Okay, context can create a lot of effect. It can create a lot of impact on the type of communication. So your right answer is option number D, that is context. Moving ahead. Attitudes, actions, and appearance in the context of classroom communication. Now see, attitudes, actions, and appearance. Appearance. यहाँ पे उन्होंने बहुत clear question दिया है. वो क्या हो सकता है? Verbal, non-verbal, impersonal, irrational. Impersonal, irrational होगा ही नहीं. Okay, it's not nearby at all. Attitude, action, appearance दिया है. Okay, या कहीं पे भी उन्होंने verbal indication diya nahi hai. So all these are the examples of what? All these are the examples of non-verbal. So your option here is non-verbal communication. Agar aap dekh rahe ho, we have done 34 questions. 34 questions में से non-verbal के लिए उन्होंने बहुत questions पूछे हैं in different way. So आपको ये सब पता होने चाहिए कि कौन से type के, you should start making a judgment कि कौन से type के questions, कौन से topic के questions, are being more frequent but with a twist. So you have to make a proper judgment of all these questions and read the question when it appears very clearly. Let's go to the next question. Most often, the teacher-student communication is what? The teacher-to-student communication is plurist, critical, utilitarian, confrontational. So plurist इसका मतलब जिसको हम eliminate करते हैं. So it's not possible. Critical, no. Utilitarian and confrontational. Okay, it means that the one which is utilized. So teacher and student, if they are communicating, so क्या उसमें से हम ले सकते हैं? The one which is most and most utilized, जहाँ पे student can utilize more and more out of the teacher, and teacher can utilize more from the student to understand the student. So it is called as utilitarian. So option number C is your right answer for this question. Let's go ahead. In a classroom, the communicator's trust level is determined by. क्लासरूम में कम्युनिकेटर का ट्रस्ट लेवल किससे डिटरमाइंड होता है? जो कम्युनिकेट करता है उसका ट्रस्ट लेवल. यूज ऑफ हाइपरबोले, चेंज ऑफ वॉइस लेवल, द यूज ऑफ एब्स्ट्रैक्ट कांसेप्ट्स, आई कांटेक्ट. Okay, you should know the meaning of this word. Hyperbolic का मतलब over exaggeration. When you are very over exaggerating the things. नहीं, बहुत सारे मे बी बच्चों को पसंद नहीं है, so this will not be an option. Change of voice level, no, they want you to be a same, I mean to say your voice level should know when to, you know, when to go at a higher one, when to come at lower, but frequent changes will not be accepted. Trust will not be there. Use of abstract concepts, so you know, they are very difficult to judge at, so no. So how you will create a test? A confident eye contact, a proper eye contact will give you the trust level. Okay, so option number D is your right answer. Next question. Which of the following is not a principle of effective communication? See, not. Please read the question very correctly. यहीं पे हम mistake कर लेते हैं. Okay. Use a strategic use of grapevine, pervasive and convincing dialogue, participation of audience, one-way transfer of communication. So अगर आपने बहुत ज़्यादा जल्दी कर दिया, so you will definitely, you know, make a mistake over here. See, which of the following is not the principle? Not. So कभी भी हमने पढ़ा है communication always has to be a two-way process. तो यहाँ पे grapevine is accepted. Sometimes informal communication चलता है. Okay, pervasive होना चाहिए, participation of audience होना चाहिए. तो कौन सा accept नहीं होगा? One way. Why? Because communication has to always be a two-way process. Okay, so option number D is your right option. In communication, language को क्या माना जाता है इन कम्युनिकेशन? लैंग्वेज, सी ऑप्शन. ये अभी ये क्वेश्चन मैंने आपको जस्ट बोला था, वर्बल और नॉन वर्बल पे बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं, बट विद अ ट्विस्ट. सो यू शुड नो इट वेरी वेल. लैंग्वेज, तो लैंग्वेज है, इंट्रापर्सनल होगा नहीं. इंट्रा यानी हम हमसे ही, यू नो, वी आर जस्ट विद आवरसेल्फ. नो, symbolic code क्योंकि वो नॉन वर्बल आता है. So language is what? नॉन वर्बल है नहीं. So language is part of what? It's a part of verbal code. So here the correct option is option number B is your right answer. Next, which of the following are the characteristic features of communication? Read all the points. Communication involves exchange of ideas, facts and opinions. Communication involves both information and understanding. Communication is a continuous process. Communication is a circular process. So if you see, it's involved exchange. ये communication का definition है. So yes, it is. This is the right option. Communication involves both information and understanding. Yes. Continuous होना चाहिए. Yes. Circular होना चाहिए. It's like two-way type. Yes. So if you see, all the options are correct. So option number A, which includes all the option A, B, C, and D. So your right option for this answer is, sorry, for this question is option number A. Next one. Effectiveness of communication can be traced by from which of the following? अगर आपको effectiveness trace करना है तो कौन से option से करोगे? Attitude survey, performance record, student attendance, or you know, selection of communication. So the right answer for this, okay, that is attitude survey, students performance, or students attendance, or you can go with selection of communication. So if you see over here, every option, okay, ये सारे use होंगे जब हमें, you know, effectiveness of communication stress करना है. Okay, so if you see here, the option number B is your right answer. A, B, C, D. Okay. Now, the term grapevine is also called, अभी just मैंने, this is also, you know, just हमने अभी उसका concept किया था. The term grapevine is also called as horizontal, downward communication, informal communication, or upward communication. So your answer, right answer is what? Grapevine is termed as informal communication. So for this, the right answer is option number C. Okay. Next, assertion and reason. Assertion. Formal communication tends to be fast and flexible, whereas reason is given. Formal communication is a systematic and orderly flow of information. So यहाँ पे formal communication tends to be fast and flexible, ऐसे कहीं पे भी नहीं बताया है. Formal communication is systematically and orderly flow of information. Yes, it is correct. But A is what? A is false. So here there is no explanation. The statement A is false and R is true or R is correct. Okay. So here if you see, your option number A is the right answer. Next, the dance of honeybee conveying to the other bees That is honeybee conveying to other bees, other honeybees, where nectar will be found is an example of what? Dance of honeybee conveying to other bees. Okay, ये क्या, इसको हम कौन से टाइप का कम्युनिकेशन बोलेंगे? मास, ग्रुप, इंटरपर्सनल, इंट्रा. इंट्रा तो होगा नहीं, interpersonal between two people hai, hoga nahi. So it is, it is, one honeybee telling to other bees. So it is nothing but it is called as what? It is called as group communication. So your option is option number B is your right answer. This question is also a recent exam based question. तो थोड़ा इसको नोट करके रखो. You can get, such examples और आपको communication के types find करने बोलेंगे. Next one. The mode of communication that involves a single source transmitting information to a large number of receivers. Single source hai, okay, or large number of receivers hai simultaneously. So again, it can be which type of? Intra or interpersonal hoga nahi. Okay, यहाँ पे देखो बहुत large number दिया है. So it will be definitely what? A mass communication. So here your right option is option number B, that is mass communication. Next, a smart classroom, read the word very well. A smart classroom is a teaching space which has smart portion with a touch panel control system, PCs, personal computers, laptop connection, and DVD or VCR player, a document, camera, and specialized software, projector, and screen. So if you see all the options, okay, these are used in the smart classrooms. Obviously, touch panel, connection, laptop connection, camera, projectors. See, these are all the options which will be all the available tools which will require for a smart classroom. So option number D, which will be consisting of all the options, will be your right answer. So in this, the right answer for the question is option number D. Next, the term yellow journalism refers to. Now yes, ये communication का एक term है, yellow journalism. हम इसे कहाँ पे use करते हैं? Sensational news about terrorism and violence, sensationalism and exaggeration to attract readers or viewers, sensational news about arts and culture, and sensational news prints in yellow paper. So which type of option here this? ये तो होगा नहीं, okay? Violence हम नहीं करेंगे, okay? Sensational news about arts and culture, it is not covering everything. So basically, yellow journalism is a concept or a term which is used to, attract the reader towards towards a communication message. जैसे advertisements है, or you want to attract the people to the newspaper. तो आप एक उस punch line या tag line ऐसे लिखते हो, people get automatically attracted towards the news. So that is called as yellow journalism. So option number B is your right answer. Next, in the classroom, the teacher sends a message either as words or images. Either as words or images. इसका मतलब है verbally or non-verbally. Students कौन है? Who are students really are? Encoder, decoder, agitators, propagators. So these are not an close option. So students, teacher message दे रहे हैं, teacher message दे रहे हैं. So teacher becomes what? Teacher becomes encoders. Students message receive कर रहे हैं, तो obviously students क्या हो जाएंगे? Decoders. Okay, the one who sends the message, communication process या communication cycle में हमने पढ़ा है. The one who sends the message, sender is an encoder, receiver is the decoder. तो टीचर सेंड कर रही है मैसेज, तो यहाँ पे टीचर क्या है? एनकोडर. स्टूडेंट्स रिसीव इट, इररेस्पेक्टिव वो वर्बल है नॉन वर्बल है, आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए उन्होंने वर्ड्स डाले हैं, बट स्टूडेंट्स क्या होंगे? डिकोडर. सो योर राइट ऑप्शन इज ऑप्शन नंबर बी. ओके, breakdown in verbal communication is described as breakdown. What is breakdown called as? Breakdown, short circuit, no. Contradiction, no. Unevenness, no. Breakdown is called as entropy. Now this is nothing but lack of order. Okay, lack of order in communication, that is called as breakdown. So here your right option is option number D. Okay, next, the telephone model of communication was first developed in the area of technological dispersion theory, minimal effect theory, informational. So now the telephone is nothing but a communication model, okay, which comes under technology. So this was under what? This was under the technology theory. So here the right option is option number A. And here we are to the last question of our series, that is, in circular communication, the encoder becomes a decoder when there is encoder. See, ये circular communication है, ये encoder है और ये decoder है. पर इन्होंने question क्या पूछा है? Encoder becomes decoder. Encoder decoder कब बन जाएंगे? When there is a noise, when there is an audience, when there is criticality, when there is a feedback. Obviously noise, audience, criticality होगा नहीं. Encoder decoder कब बन जाएंगे? जब decoder will give the feedback to them. So encoder becomes what? A decoder. So that option here is, the right option is option number D, that is feedback. So here
Question number 1 talks about interpersonal communication is based on arena, facade, blind spot, all the above. Arena is nothing but it is called as the place. Facade, it is an attractive part, like an attractive part of a building, the attractive part of communication. Blind spot, okay, the like for example, which has to be avoided. And what, so interpersonal communication is based on what? So it is based on all the above mentioned. So the right answer for this question is all the above. Next question. Internal and external factors that affect message reception by the students in the classrooms are referred to as. Now, internal and external factors, which I mean to say, which have been communicated in the classroom, can be affected due to what? So, definitely, whether it is internal or whether it is external, the options given over here: feedback, fragmentation, channelization, noise. But obviously it will be affected with what? It will be affected with noise as one of the obstacle. So the right answer is option number D, that is noise. Let's come to the third question. Iconic production of classroom communication includes. Now, when we say iconic, it is influential. So when we are talking about the influential communication in the classroom, will it be will it be affected by email, graphics, telephone, or scripting? So obviously it is going on this classroom, how you make it very influential, that can happen only with the help of what? It with the help of graphics. Now see, this is very common question to think over it. Email, it's when it comes to classroom communication, email, telephone, or script. Okay, script, it means okay, what is conveyed. But rather than that, you can attract your students more with your graphics rather than anything of this else. So for this, the right question is graphics. That is option number B. Next question. It is estimated that the meaning derived by the students from non-verbal communication in relation to verbal communication is what amount? So before we go through this question, this is one of the factual questions. So आप ये जो next screen है, you can just take a screenshot of this. ये थोड़ा useful होगा आपके लिए. Questions किसी भी way से आ सकते हैं. So if you see the model which is given by Dr. Albert Mehrabian, he says that words in communication content, the content of the words, it takes in percentage how much? 7%. When it comes to vocal elements, it is contributed by 38%. अभी vocal elements में क्या क्या आता है? Pitch, tone, rate, volume, intonation, rhythm. And when it comes to non-verbal communication, जैसे gestures है, postures है, facial expressions है, so it contributes 55%. अभी आपका क्वेश्चन क्या दिया है? दैट इज यस, नॉन वर्बल का मेजॉरिटी है. सो दैट इज 2/3 परसेंटेज इज कंट्रीब्यूटेड बाय द नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन. सो जस्ट मेक अ नोट ऑफ दिस. ये थोड़ा सा डायग्राम भी आप स्क्रीनशॉट लेके रख दीजिए. अदरवाइज इफ यू आर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो एंड इफ यू हैव योर नोट पैड विथ यू राइट नाउ, तो आप इसी यहाँ ये इंपॉर्टेंट नोट्स में डाल दीजिए. सो दिस परसेंटेज एंड द एलिमेंट्स, तो आपको थोड़ा इजी होगा इफ एनी टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन कम्स. Next, which of the following principles as a good communicator should follow? Now see, as I always tell you, ऐसे type के questions में you go for downsizing options. कौन से principles communicator follow करते हैं? A good communicator follows. Let's go to the option. He should stay organized. He should avoid use of visuals. He should be authoritarian. He must adjust to the medium, and he should prefer the method of storytelling. So if a good communicator पूछा है तो obviously he should be authoritarian, तो आएगा नहीं, you can cancel. He should avoid visuals, तो होगा नहीं. Okay, so now see 1 4 5 आपको options में है. See 3 and 2 तो होगे ही नहीं, so you can just cancel this out. तो आपका the answer which you are getting is 1 4 5. Yes, it is, all the points tells that they are the principles of good communicators. So here the option, right option is option number D. The next is differences between acceptance and non-acceptance of certain stimuli, that is reaction. In the classroom, communication is a basis of what? यानी अगर आपको differences, I mean to say acceptance or non-acceptance के बीच आपको, like for example if you have to go for a reaction base, so वो कौन सा होगा? Selective expectations of the performance, selective affiliation to peer groups, selective attention, selective morality. But if you see performance नहीं होगा, affiliation nahi hoga, morality nahi hoga, so it will be what? Selective attention. So here your right option is option number C. Next question. Which of the following elements good communication should adopt? Okay, concrete, courtesy, filibustering, fictionalization, coherence, and you have to choose from the above. Okay, यहाँ पे भी अगर आप देखोगे, we have studied, I mean to since our graduation days we have studied very well 6 C's of communication, that is concrete and courtesy. तो ये तो होना ही है. Option number 1 and 2 is there. Okay, coherence also we have studied. So option number 1 2 3. But still I mean to say अगर आपको फिर भी you should know that what this means. Filibustering is nothing but delaying or blocking, या तो negative हो जाता है, so it should, good communication में negativity होनी नहीं चाहिए, so we should avoid this, so this will be cancelled. So filibustering it means that delaying or blocking. Fictionalization, it means just an imaginary which we can't take in into good communication. So if you see your correct options 1 2 and 5, okay, that is your option number C should be your right answer. Okay, here's this your option number C. Next, effective educational communication is, अगर आपको communication, एजुकेशनल कम्युनिकेशन को इफेक्टिव बनाना है, नॉन रेसिप्रोकल, रिपीटेटिव, कंटिन्यूअस, कोहेसिव. ना सी नॉन रेसिप्रोकल अलग होता है, रिपीटेटिव आप इसको रोट लर्निंग या मेमोरी रोट लर्निंग को you can give an birth to the rote learning which should be avoided. Okay, cohesive, it should not be there. So definitely what will be your right answer? That is continuous. Effective communication के लिए continuity होनी बहुत जरूरी है. So your right option is continuous. Okay, going to the next question. Successful successful communication, educational communication is dependent upon the skills of, यानी अगर successful educational communication है, so it should depend upon which skills? Understanding the negative characteristics, verbal communication and body language, estimating the time for audience impact, analyzing the audience need. So obviously negative characteristics to aayega hi nahi. So A cannot be an option. Okay. Now, when we talk about estimating audience time impact, C also cannot be, C cannot be an option. So ये भी आपका cancel हो जाता है. So your option actually is verbal communication and body language, and analyzing the needs of the audience, what exactly audience need. So here your right option is option number 4. Next question. Assertion and reason. So when we talk about assertion and reason, we know that we just can get into touch with question, not with any other intention of going through the question. So like let's understand what it tells. Now it's talking about uh, assertion in the form of pedagogy and social interaction are two major result oriented activities of a teacher. Pedagogy, a teaching technique; social interaction is one of them. It's an act, it is a activity, result oriented activity. Reason क्या बोल रहा है? Communication has a limited role in this activity. अगर आप देखोगे पेडागॉगी एंड इंटरेक्शन के लिए कम्युनिकेशन का तो मेजर रोल होगा. सो यहाँ पे ए हो जाता है आपका ट्रू and R हो जाता है आपका false. But yes, there is no matching of the explanation. So it's just a simple sentence which talks about true and false. So the explanation part will be deleted. A true है, R false है. So if you see, your right answer is option number C, that is this answer is true and R is false. Okay, this is one of the examination question in my daily teaching aptitude. Sorry, in the daily revision lectures also series also. This question was been taken in by me in one of the video. So just remember, like you can get the question is in front of you again and again. Maybe upcoming exams में इसका intention of twisting the questions कुछ अलग हो सकता है. So just ensure that you are understanding the concepts and you're going through the practice. Next, the interaction between a teacher and a students create a zone of proximal. Which zone of proximal? Either it is difference, confusion, development, or distortion. Now let's see this again. Here is a diagram for you. Now you see, when we talk about a learner, certain things learner can do on his own, okay, where he do not require any help. For certain things, he requires an assistance, and certain things a learner cannot do at all. So when he requires an assistance, that is with the help of a teacher, that is just to develop the learner. So when we are talking about this the interaction between a teacher and a student, which creates which type of proximal zone, that is nothing but it creates a zone of development. So your right answer for this is option number 3. Then next we have is, which of the following will help to overcome communication barrier? अगर आपको barrier, if you have a barrier, आपको कौन सा इसमें से कौन से options आपको barrier overcome करने के लिए help करेगा, okay, दूर करने के लिए help करेगा? So that is focus listening, neglecting semantic structure, top down command structure, use of clutch idioms. So yes, अगर आपको बैरियर ओवरकम करना है, इट इज वेरी क्लियर, अगर आपको कम्युनिकेशन बैरियर ओवरकम ओवरकम करना है तो आपका ध्यान सिर्फ और सिर्फ किस पे होना चाहिए, अ फोकस्ड लिसनिंग. सो योर ऑप्शन राइट, बिकॉज इफ यू डू दैट, rest of the things will be taken care. So your option right answer for this is focused listening. Now, which of the following theories can be applied in classroom communication? Now, in this question, let's assume कि आपको theories पता नहीं है. You have not, you have not read the theories. So when you talk about such theories, just focus on the question once again कि कौन सी theories can be applied in classroom communication. Classroom communication में जहाँ पे teacher है, जहाँ पे learner है या student है. So basically, why teacher communicates with a learner or a student? So if you see, to transform him, to develop him, so it means that to get a constructivity out of it. So here, which theory goes with the statement is theory of social constructivism. Okay, audience marginalization theory में यहाँ पे आपको पता नहीं है which type of audience they are talking about. Ritualistic theory में it is basic rituals. That is theory of hegemony. It is talking about dominance. So it will not be allowed. But if you see the question and read it and understand it in different way, here you will definitely get the right answer. That is theory of social constructivism is the right answer for this option. Next, active listening, reading, or viewing information to gain a complete and accurate understanding of the communicated message. Which of the following is referred to? यानी अगर आपको अच्छे से सुनना है या पढ़ना है या व्यू करना है तो कौन इसमें से कौन से ऑप्शंस आपको will give you that all what is needed. Critical listening, academic writing skills, revision and editing, audience awareness. Now here also if you see with the options, writing तो हम नहीं बोल रहे. Okay, we are talking about overall. So academic writing skills focus will be on the academic part. Revision and editing definitely not. Audience awareness no, awareness है, बाकी ये का options यहाँ पे बता नहीं रहे. So it is about what? It is about critical listening. Will help you to go for all this activities. That is active listening, reading, and viewing. If you go for a critical listening, then next you have is question number 15, an understanding of an ability to use gestures, expressions, and non-verbal cues to help communicate a message. Which of the following is referred as? अगर आपको ये सब जो ऊपर points करने हैं, okay, so which of the activity will help you to do that? Okay, whether it is critical listening, personal presentation and body language, revision and editing, presentation of technical and scientific data. Now gestures है जहाँ पे हम where we do not make use of we make use of only signs and symbols. So यहाँ पे it much depends upon what it talks much about your body language. So personal presentation and body language, that is your option number B is the right answer. Next, an understanding of the use of images, graphs, and other methods to simply present the data concisely. Now, present the data, graphs, images इसमें use किए हैं. So यहाँ पे critical listening, body language, revision and editing, and presentation of technical or scientific data is important. Obviously, when you're using all these concepts, so your presentation of technical and scientific data is important. No body language, no critical listening, and no revision and editing. So your option number D is the right option. Next, major limitation of mass communication is, mass communication के सबसे बड़ा disadvantage क्या है? The success of the program depends upon the procedure. More time is required to produce the message. The feedback system is weak. It is very costlier for the receiver. Yes, the biggest disadvantage is the feedback system of this particular communication is very weak. We can't guarantee it. So the right answer for this is the feedback system is very weak. Next, TV channel which is launched for covering engineering and technological subjects. Gyan Darshan Vyas Eklavya Kisan. Now, Gyan Darshan, it's an initiative by IGNU for, educational programs. Okay. And the rest, that is Eklavya. It talks about an educational program, TV channel launch, but it takes care about what? It takes care about engineering and technological domain. So if you see, this is again, I have written a little a note about it. It is about a distance learning initiative which is brought by IIT and IGNU. Okay, its objective kya hai? That is the classrooms virtually at the doorsteps with the intention of engineering and technological domain. So the right answer is Eklavya. Okay, then gangplank implies, now this is actually this is a management concept. Okay, gangplank, or it is called as scalar chain. I'll just take you to the diagram. Now see, this is how it looks. Either it is called as gangplank or scalar chain. Now in this diagram represents an organization. ये एक organization है, और इस organization में these are the levels, various levels. Okay, that is, it talks with lower level, middle level, and top level. So suppose, like for example, one lower level wants to give a message off to the other lower level. So ये एक department है और ये another department है. तो message को अगर यहाँ से यहाँ पे pass होना है, okay, normally क्या होता है, they have to go with hierarchies. They have to inform their immediate bosses, and then they will get a reply, and then the work will happen. But gangplank एक ऐसा it means it is that type of facility based things where it will give a help to the person. Okay, to person in such a way that if there is an emergency, if there is something which is very urgent, he can directly contact the concerned person and get the work done, and then he can keep the bosses, immediate bosses in loop. But यहाँ पे वो आपको रोकते नहीं है to get the work done faster. So यहाँ पे if you see the options, gangplank implies quick communication, vertical, horizontal, none. So it is, I said, it makes the communication faster without following the protocol. So here it is quick communication. The answer is quick communication. The right answer is quick communication. Communication is quite often between the line and staff functions, cross, horizontal, vertical, upward. Communication between line and staff. एक ही ये सेम क्वेश्चन लास्ट मॉक सीरीज में भी मैंने डाला था. यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन एक एग्जाम्पल के साथ दिया था. यू आर वर्किंग इन वन ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट एंड योर को कलीग्स विल बी वॉट. सो द सेम थिंग इज line and staff. Here it is, you're at equal panel, so it is called as horizontal communication. The answer here is horizontal communication. Now see, the same question, but the pattern of giving the question is different. So you should know all the ways in which the board can give you the NTA board can give you the questions in any form. In a twisted form, you should be very clear with your concepts. Let's move to the next one. Which of the following statement explain interpersonal skills? Interpersonal, between a group of people or from one person to another person. So it the skills that a person uses to interact with other people, people skills or communication skills, It explains how people relate to one another and all about. Yes, so it's basically it is the people skill. So your right option is what? Your option number D, that is all the above. Then we have the test effectiveness of instruction is, अगर आपको instruction की effectiveness find out करनी है, it depends upon what? Sufficient use of audio visuals, maintenance of discipline, effectiveness of learning and attendance. So obviously instructions की जो effectiveness है वो किससे decide की जाती है? It is based on what? The effectiveness of learning. So your right option here is the third option, option C. Next, teacher's communication will be more effective when teacher discusses previous year's question paper, teacher is a master of his subject, prepares a good number of instructional aids, he starts from what students already know. So here if you see the option, the right option is here it prepares a good number of instructional aids to make the lessons attractive, okay, to make the content, attention of the students. So your right option is option number C, prepares a good number of instructional materials or aids. Next, what is the ultimate goal while planning the instructional procedure? To make classes instructing and meaningful, to enable the pupils to secure high, to realize all the development goals are anticipated, and to ensure that the people master the learning. तो यहाँ पे अगर जब instructions का procedure बनाया जाता है, plan किया जाता है, तो सबसे important है that is to realize the development goals are anticipated. See, हम बच्चों के बारे में जब भी सोचते हैं, we have to think from a developmental point of view. So developmental development, bringing a development or achieving the development goals is an intention. So here the correct option is option number C. The next one. Dynamics of interpersonal communications are body language, facial expression, posture, movements. Yes, everything matters when you're talking to the people, whether it is your facial expression, your language, body language, your posture, and your movements. So your right option is option number D, sorry, that is all the above. Next, a founder of critical thinking. Who has founded the concept of critical thinking? It's factual based question. So here the answer is Socrates. Socrates is the one who has given the base for the foundation for the critical thinking. So your right answer is option number C. Next, an individual uses space when communicating with others, a distance which is to be maintained. So what is that called? Paradigm, proximies, or space communication, or none of the following? So the right answer here with distance or space is called as proximies. So the option number B is your right answer. The ability to put oneself in another person's role is termed as what? To put oneself in another person's role. So it will be called as apathy, synergy, empathy, and feedback. It's called as empathy. Okay, communication has to be empathetic. The role should be empathetic. So that is empathy. It's where it includes every quality. It includes your generousness, your politeness, your attentive listening. So it should have that in the communication as well as in the person. So option C is the right option. Then we have next. Teams are made up of individuals who operates across space and time and who communicate mainly through technologies, electronic gadgets or technology. So these teams are called as what? Virtual, effective, cohesive, difunctional. Okay, difunctional will definitely not. Cohesive is itself is a team. Effective, it should be. So basically, we are talking about what? We are talking about the technology. So it should be what type of communication? It should be your virtual communication, that is virtual way. So the right option is option number A. Next we have is when people talk to themselves, communication takes place within the brain. What type of communication? People talk to themselves, oneself. Themselves, it means oneself. They can confuse you with the words, so be careful. Is it non-verbal, inter, non-verbal, intra or mass communication? When the person is talking to oneself, it is called as interpersonal communication. Okay, oneself could say. Okay, then which of the following is also referred as didactic communication or communication between two individuals, between two people? So it is called as interpersonal. one person talking to other, or two people. That is option number 1 is here the right answer. Next, a communication between a family of 3 talking at a supper, that is while having their food, or a meeting or an organization with a few members, and is an example of, see, family of 3, okay, or a meeting, where it is 3, it is not interpersonal because it's more than 2, it's not intra because it is more than, not, they're not talking to the self, they're talking to others, it is not a huge thing where we can't call it as public. So interpersonal not there, public it's not there, intrapersonal not, so it's called as what, the small group communication. So here your option number D is the right option. Next one, which of the following is not correct? Please remember this word. Whenever you are having such type of questions, you represent the questions very well, read it very well. Not the essential feature of internal communication process in an organization, which does not have essential feature. It involves shared meaning, it involves people, so it is symbolic, and it requires instruments like radio. So yes, these three are expected. So it does not involve share meaning. It means that certain things cannot be accepted the way it is by us and by the others. So it does not involve shared meaning. The right option is option number A. Next, which of the following is not important hindrance to effective communication? That is, importance obstacle, language difficulty, status distance, resistance to change, employee relationship with management. It's not an hindrance, okay? So language definitely, it's an hindrance. Status also, resistance to change also can be hindrance. So employee relationship with management cannot be an hindrance. It can be taken care of. So your right option is option number D. Next, which of the following principle is useful guide for establishing good communication? When the communication considers to be good, when with the feedback, with the attention, with balance, none. So no, it is considered to be best with the feedback. Feedback ends the process of communication. So your right option is option number 1. Okay. Communication can be upward, downward, sideway, diagonal. You can call it as diagonal also, or you all the above. So yes, communication can be any upward, downward, sideway. Okay, so all the above. The answer is here. Right answer is all the above. Okay. Formal communication is based on. Now, here we are talking about formal communication, which is business communication, a professional communication. It's based on chain. It's based on scalar chain. Grapevine will be not an option. It's informal. None of the above, it's not an option. So basically, if it is formal, it has to, I have shown you the example of scalar chain and gangplank, okay? Where, as I told you, that you have to, when you have to talk to your boss, okay, so you will be talking to your boss, then it has to be very formal, one by one, towards one, and each step. So it has to be, it is called as what? It is none other than scalar chain. So your option number B is the right option. Next, classroom communication of a teacher rests on the principle of, the communication in the classroom can be on what? Infotainment, it's only information and entertainment. Edutainment, that is education plus entertainment. Only entertainment, only enlightenment, definitely not. So information given by the teacher should always have education, plus it should be also an entertainment. So it's called as edutainment. Okay, that is option number B is the right answer. Next, communication via media, computers, teleshopping, internet, mobile telephony is termed as what? So, with this help, do we entertain ourselves? Do we interact? Do we develop? Do we communitarian? So, basically, if you see, we interact. Okay, it is called as interactive communication. So, here the option number B is the right option. Next, which of the following alternative is representing the effective communication? What will be effective communication? Teacher cracking jokes. Teacher should impact multidimensional sensory influence. The teacher should speak authoritatively. Teacher should teach what is beneficial to the student. So definitely C and A options are out. Okay, but here sensory influence, only doing that, it's better teacher teach what is the beneficial for the child, or what is beneficial for the student. So here your option number D is the right answer. Next, what is the essential step for an effective communicator? Selecting a channel, think about evaluation, determine the objective of communication, identify the medium. See, before you do all this, channel is important, evaluation is important, medium is also important. But before you do all this, it is very important for you to communicate why you are communicating. It means your objectives plays an important role. So that is your option number C is the right answer. Next question. Which of the following cannot, now see, be careful, a good way of communication in promoting literacy among villagers? Demonstration, reading and writing, providing material on TV, large group discussion. So basically, literacy. So villagers who may be, the remote places where the illiteracy rate has still not been improved. So in such case, you doing anything with the help of reading and writing, especially writing, can, yeah, can cause a very big trouble. So that here the option, right option is option number B. Okay. Next. One will be an effective communicator if he's humorous, his historic he has historic talent, he's very clear what he communicates in one's mother tongue. So effective, so humorous is of no use, historic is of no use, clear with the what he communicates, yes, there has to be clarity in his communication, and using mother tongue at a very adult age is not, is not an effective communicator. It is only used when the child has to be prepared with the natural atmosphere. So here your point number C tends to be a right option. Okay. If a person replies like I see or huh, then it is known as, it means, see, we do not understand someone saying like that. We do not understand whether it's yes or whether it's no. It's like in a dilemma whether it can be yes or no. So is it positive? Definitely not. It's not negative also, but it's ambiguous. Now ambiguous, it means you're not able to, it's not clear. Okay, the clarity is not mentioned. So your right option is option number C. Next, communication with oneself. Now, here, see, the question is direct. I had taken two questions of the same topic, but with a different question set. Communication with, speaking in the mind. So here, there, it was not very clear. He's talking himself. The example was, little bit twisted. But here, they are telling it is very clearly that communication with oneself will be called as what? Oneself. So it is intrapersonal communication, intra with your own self, whether it is your in your mind or heart. So such the right option here is intra. Okay. Next, the study of gestures and body postures for the impact of communication, body language, is called as what? Okay, whether it is called as kinesics, proximies, semantic, or informal channel. So we studied that proximies is about it's about distance. So body language is taken care by kinesthetics. So that is option number A is your right option. Then, a good communicator is the one who offers to his audience information, good amount of statistics, proof, a repetition of facts. So obviously, statistics in every communication cannot be used. Proof not required. Repetition of facts is not, may not be needed in some communication. But what is important is the plentiful of information. That is the option A is the right option for this question. Next. The term SITE stands for Satellite India Television Experiment, Satellite International Television, Satellite Instructional Television Experiment, and Satellite Instructional Teacher Education. It's one of the factual question. You have to be very clear with the full form. It's Satellite Instruction Television Experiment, which started in India in year 1975. Okay, which was a joint initiative by NASA and ISRO. Not only that, but this was used to ensure that the television programs reach to the rural areas of India and can make it impactful. So yes, that's the site stands for, that is Satellite Instructional Television Experiment, which is the option number 3. Okay, that is option 3 is the right answer for this. Then we have in communication, a major barrier to reception of a message is, okay, whether it is affected by audience attitude, knowledge, education, income. Income is definitely not. These three are there, but very close. It's your attitude. If you decide, not to listen, if you decide not to, if you decide to argue, then your attitude is like that. It is not allowing you to take the knowledge. So here the right answer is the attitude of the audience. That is audience attitude. The last one, that describes all the forms of communication that are not verbal. Okay. Now when we talk about verbal, prosody is verbal, rhythmic verbal, it is verbal. Okay. Vocalist, that is voice. Habitus, that is, that is touch. So basically here the describing all the forms of communication that are not verbal is the para language. The right answer for this question is option number D. So here we end up with our mock test series for the day. And as I said, you're getting the mock test series every day at 8 a.m. Just every lecture we are keeping on saying you, because it's not about pressure. हम आप पे pressure नहीं डाल रहे, but time थोड़ा कम है. आपको थोड़ा you have to get set preparation. Number one, when we say that communication is intentional, it means that sender consciously intends to affect the behavior of the receiver of the message. Effective communication is a process of acting on information through speech communication. People make sense of the world, none of the above. See, intentional, it means जो जानबूझ के किया गया है. So definitely none of the above नहीं होगा. Through speech communication, people make sense of the word, no. Effective communication तो है नहीं. Sender consciously intends to affect the behavior of the receiver of the message. So this is what option number A is your right answer. Next, communication is transfer and understanding of what? Communication is a transfer and understanding of ideas, concepts, meanings, words. Now, I'll not be telling the answer. Maybe those who are pausing the video, or in case even if you're not pausing the video, we will directly see the answer in the next slide. Okay, so that it will help you to prepare yourself and answer before I answering the question. So, communication is what? Is it a transfer of idea, concepts, meaning, or words? So the answer is it is exactly the transfer and understanding of meaning. आइडियाज कंसेप्ट्स एंड वर्ड्स से ज्यादा सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट हमें क्या अंडरस्टैंड करना है? मीनिंग. अनलेस एंड अनटिल हमें ये मीनिंग नहीं पता, वी विल नॉट बी एबल टू गिव द फीडबैक, एंड दैट will not complete the process of communication. So meaning is very important. Which of the following can be termed as context of communication? Okay, so when we are talking about context of communication, so which among this will be termed as context of communication? Now, when I'm saying context of communication, it means you can tell it as circumstances, okay, or event, or a statement, or an idea. So, an interference with message reception, effective communication, verbal and non-verbal response to the messages, a physical and psychological environment of conversation. Now see what I have told you, context of communication. आपको ये पता होना चाहिए इसका मतलब क्या है. A circumstances, a statement, idea. So interference नहीं हो सकता है, effective communication नहीं हो सकता है, non-verbal and verbal and non-verbal responses नहीं हो सकते हैं. See, the answer here can be the four, that is option number 4D, a physical and psychological environment for conversation. Because situation, circumstances इससे ही depend होंगे ना. So that is option number D is the right answer. Yes. Which of the following is the Belrose linear model of communication? So when we talk about Belrose leader model of communication, now this model of communication has a mode of, I mean to say, a way of communicating. So now when we talk about this model of communication, it exactly start with what? It start with source. Okay, going on to the message. It's very simple, then coming to the channel, and then coming to the receiver. So it starts with what? It starts with source, it goes on to the message, it continues through the channel, and it goes to the receiver. तो मैंने अभी 2 बार repeat किया है, so it's clear that you must have understood what the answer is. So your answer option number 2, that is source, message, channel, and the receiver is the right answer for this particular question. Okay, now when we talk about this model of communication, okay, it has actually 6 stages. Okay, that is the source, the message, the channel and the, I mean to say, and the receiver. But apart from that, it also includes encoding and decoding part. Okay, so you can just keep this in mind. Agar question thoda twist ho gaya, so you can have the 6 stages. Ya to number yaad rakho. Okay. Next, who among the following has stated that people know each other and themselves through communication? So this is bit factual question. आपको इसका person याद रखना है. It's George Herbert Mead. So that is the right answer for this. The one who has stated that people know each other and themselves. यानी एक दूसरे और खुद को. It's inter and intra. कैसे पहचानते हैं? It's with the help of communication. और ये किसने बोला है? That is George Herbert. Then, uh, sorry, here I think this one slide is uh, not been printed. Okay, fine. We have to direct the sixth with an answer. So the ability to communicate effectively. Understand the options first of all. Answer you have, but why the others can't be an actual answer. So the ability to communicate effectively depends on level of education. It's a natural talent. It's always depend on the use of technology and can be learned. See, ability to communicate, natural नहीं हो सकता है. Okay, it cannot be, it's a natural talent, cannot be natural है, but but cannot be learned, नहीं हो सकता है. You can learn at any point of time. Education से effectiveness in communication nahi hai. We have seen many many students who are the rankers, but they do not they fail to effectively communicate. So that is also not possible. Depend upon the use of technology. Never, we didn't had technology in earlier days, still we had people speaking and communicating effectively. So it is the only thing which can be learned. Okay, so the right option is option number D. So the slides were just interchange. Sorry for that. Next, if it is assumed that communication has no beginning or end, then it is termed as. उस communication के लिए start भी नहीं है, end भी नहीं है. It's like cyclic. तो mediation, process, interaction, transaction. Obviously, अगर उसका end नहीं है, तो it is called as what? It is called as process. So your answer number B option. Sorry, option number B is the right option. Then the essential components of communication are. Now यहाँ पे see, आपको तो components काफी अच्छे से पता है. Okay, but there they have given to confuse the things. See how they have just mixed up the things. तो आपको पता है source, message, interference, that is in the form of noise or obstacle, channel, receiver, feedback, and context, that is circumstances. तो ये हमने अभी पढ़ा है. Let's see the next option. Sign, source, destination. ये तो हमने नहीं पढ़ा है. So this cannot be an option. Sign, symbol, understanding, communication and communicant नहीं पढ़ा है हमने. Symbols, understanding, purpose, idea, non-verbal सिर्फ नहीं हो सकता है, verbal भी है, reaction. So this cannot be. So if you see, your option number A is the right answer. So you just have to alertly read the question and ensure that कि आप जो भी पढ़ रहे हो, आपने जितना भी आपके पास knowledge है, आप उसको use कर रहे हो. So that is very very important. Next question. A message can be deemed effective when good communication skills are used, repeated back as proof of understanding, understood by receiver and produces the desired response, delivered in the interpersonal communication. So सिर्फ inter तो नहीं है, there are many. Repeated back as a proof of understanding, no. Good communication skills are used, no. It is basically that it has to be understood by the receiver and it has to produce a desired response जो हमें expected है. So here the answer is your option number C. Next, learning to communicate with others is a key to eliminating listeners' all psychological noises, never been misunderstood, establishing rewarding relationship, all the above. Okay, never been misunderstood nahi ho sakta. It depends upon how the message is communicated. Eliminating listeners, all the psychological noises, no, it's not possible. All the above nahi hoga. So here the right answer is your option number C, that is to establish the rewarding relationship. It means in the form of networking. Next, during the communication process, the message is converted to a symbolic form called what? Decoding, encoding, dispersing, and expanding. So here I hope everyone knows this answer. So directly I will go to the answer only. द मैसेज इज कन्वर्टेड टू द सिंबॉलिक फॉर्म, मैसेज डिलीवर्ड नहीं हुआ है, सिर्फ उसको डिलीवर्ड होने के पहले जो कन्वर्जन करते हैं, ओके, दैट इज I mean to say, we called it as what we called it as encoding. पहले message को symbolic form से encode किया जाता है, and then it is what it is decoded. Okay, so now the next one, one's own description as a person. हम खुद को अगर describe करते हैं तो हम उसके क्या बोलेंगे? Self concept, self perception, self awareness, self respect. Okay, you should be aware of all those words. Okay, हम डिस्क्राइब कर रहे हैं, सो इट इज कॉल्ड एज व्हाट, इट इज कॉल्ड एज सेल्फ कंसेप्ट, इट्स सेल्फ कंसेप्ट. ओके, परसेप्शन इज एन ओपिनियन, अवेयरनेस हमें पता है, रिस्पेक्ट इज एस्टीम, विच वी आर डिस्क्राइबिंग, सो इट इज कॉल्ड एज सेल्फ कंसेप्ट. नेक्स्ट, which of the following term describes the communication between two people that involves sending and receiving? Two people. See, decoding encoding sender receiver से है, तो यहाँ पे two people तो involved नहीं है, तो ये तो cancel होगा. Transaction is a process, so it is called as was dyadic communication. Okay, see, this is very simple, आपको पता होना चाहिए, you don't have to waste. As I always keep on telling in my videos, you have a limited time for your paper one, okay, which you need to smartly uh, ensure that you are using it in a very well defined manner. So such questions are very easy to crack, so you need to spend more on this, I mean to say, you need to spend less on this and go for a required questions a time. Next, uh, people who engage in frank and open expression of the feelings are considered as what? अग्रेसिव नहीं हो सकते हैं, फ्रैंक और ओपन दिया है, रूड नहीं हो सकते, इनकंसिडरेट नहीं हो सकते, which is called as assertive, it's called as affirmative. So right answer is C. Next, a low context culture is one where most of the information is unspoken, most of the information is explicitly stated in a verbal message, most of the information is apparent, most of the information is non-existence. Okay, low context culture. Okay, I'll explain you the reason with the answer. The option is B over here. Now why? See, low context culture, okay, most of the information is explicitly, that is directly stated in the verbal message. So यहाँ पे you don't have to, circumstances बहुत clear है, low है ना, so it's very clear, so you have to directly state it with the verbal message. Okay, when it is high context, now see the same question you have, so much of the information about the context or about the person, much of the information is spoken, most of the information use sign language, it is unspoken. Okay, high यानी आपको नहीं पता, so it is what, it is unspoken. high यानी आपको circumstances से assume करना पड़ता है, so it is assumed, so it's unspoken. Okay, so low, just make a note, आपके पास अगर writing notes, आपको मैंने जैसे बोला है, I have always told you to keep a writing note. So when it is a low context culture, it is, verbal, explicit, direct. When it is high context culture, it is it is non-verbal, it's unspoken, or it is implicit. So just make a note of it. Okay, now, the primary channels used by the individual to communicate with others: radio, television, no; email, no; tone of voice, no; it is eyesight and sound. Okay, that is how we communicate. So the right answer is eyesight, sight and sound. Then, encoding is important to encourage feedback, eliminate noise, produce messages, and ensure decoding of message. Why we do encoding? So that, it helps to what? It helps to produce messages. That's the reason we are doing encoding. Okay, it helps to give the right message or produce the right message. Next, which of the three components are the part of human communication process? Message recording feedback, noise feedback diagram, message noise feedback, feedback message critiquing. Okay, now यहाँ पे तो आपने पढ़ा है this very well. Recording नहीं आता है, diagrams we don't have, critics we don't have. So it is option number C. So this also has to be very quick. So option number C is your right answer. Next, words are connotative, denotative, symbols, unnecessary. We have just seen that words are nothing but they are sound sites, that is symbols. So the right answer is symbols. Okay. Now, emoticons are what? Emotional confidence, specially expressive bodily gesture नहीं है. We know emoticons are not body gestures, not a conference also. Emotional queries, hey, nee, these are not at all related. They are the type symbols, emojis, which we call that communicate facial expressions. So the right answer is D. Next, in communication process, to encode means to translate the idea into code, to interpret a code, to block a pathway between a sender and a receiver, to speak to a large group. This and this cannot be an option. Now you have to decide. I have already given you a 50-50 option. Translate ideas into a code or interpret a code. So encoding, it means to translate idea into a code. Now see, this type of question came in 3 to 4 different patterns to confuse you. So you have to be very, very careful when you know encoding is a symbol which is, converted in the form to produce a message. That's how, all the 4 questions I have put in one. So it is basically translate the ideas into code. Then a person is likely to use eye contact while listening and interested in communication, speaking, interpreting. So basically, eye contact is used for attentive listening. So your right answer is listening. Okay. Next, feedback is a situation in which the sender and the receiver exchange information confined to verbal form, confined to written form, none of the above. आपको पता है फीडबैक सबके लिए होता है, नॉन वर्बल है, वर्बल. सो सिर्फ वर्बल नहीं होगा, सिर्फ रिटर्न नहीं होगा, none of the above नहीं है. So your right answer here is a situation in which sender and the receiver exchange the information. Okay, the right answer is option number A. Next, listening to said to be adversely listening to be said to be listening is said to be adversely affected by. So here it is a little bit grammatical error. It should be listening is said to be adversely affected by what? Speaker's fast delivery, yes, isse ho sakta hai. Message loaded with too much of information, yes. Improper selection of use and use of media, yes. So all above. So in सबसे listening affect हो सकता है. So the answer is what? Answer is all above. Okay. Next, which of the following terms is closely related to feedback? Okay, now that is brainstorming. Okay, next is heuristic. Then we have cybernetics. Okay, and then we have is next is a none of above. So when we are talking about cybernetics, it is it's nothing but it is called as a circular causality or a feedback process where the outcome of the actions is is comes out. So cybernetics is nothing but it's a word or term related to feedback. Okay, just make a note of it. This very uncommon form of question. You may get it in any way. Okay, then feedback is a listener's verbal critique of your message, acceptance of a message, verbal and non-verbal response, and aversion to a message. So here if you see the answer is already written, it is nothing but it is called as what? It is called as aversion. Okay, it's nothing, it's like a strong disinclination or a dislike. Okay, so that is this is answer is D over here. Next, when we try to organize details in our mind, we are seeking to produce new ideas, process complex information and categorize difficult and easy piece of information, process simple information and categorize it. When we organize details in our minds, okay, what do we do? What we do is, okay, when we produce new ideas, it's not possible. Okay, where we process complex information into and then categorize it, it's difficult, it is not nearest. Okay, categorize difficult and easy pieces of information or process simple information and categorize them. So here the right answer is process complex information. Okay, I mean to say when you segregate those complex information and then you categorize into simple form. That is the right answer. That is option number B. Okay, next, to decode a message is to evaluate a message, translate ideas into code, reject a message, or interpret a message. So decode, that is nothing but it is called as what? Interpret a message. You're interpreting. Encoding, it means you're producing a message. Decoding, it means you're interpreting a message. Okay. A message is a signal that serves stimuli, that is response for a sender, for a receiver, stimuli for a mass audience, or a noise reduction. A message is a signal for whom? कौन दे रहा है? Sender. So obviously it is a signal for whom? It's a response for whom? It's a response for the receiver. So the right option is option number B. The objective definition of a word is indirect meaning, connotative meaning, denotative meaning, or direct meaning. So the objective definition of a word. So word, it's nothing but denotative, denoting. Okay, it denotes. It is direct. Okay, so it is a word has an objective of a direct. It always have a direct meaning. Okay. Now here the option should be indirect. Okay, here there is a small this, it is indirect, it's not, because denotative itself is called as direct meaning. So here just make a correction, your option will be indirect. Okay. uh, Indirect is already given, connotative, denotative. Yes, so here it will be uh, so I mean to say, if such option comes, so definitely first you'll give preference to denotative meaning, that is that's what we have in the syllabus. So that is denotative meaning, not direct first, it is denotative meaning. Okay. The subjective meaning of a word, subjective, there are two questions, one is subjective, one is objective. So the subjective meaning is called as what? The subjective meaning is called as connotative word, which are implicit. Okay. Whereas there is, I'll just take you to the next direct question. Okay, I'll come to it later, but I just don't want to break your link. Okay, sorry for that. Which of the following steps would you consider first for an effective communication? That is, select the channel, plan the evaluation, specify the objective, identify various media for communication. So according to you, okay, what you feel is the effective first step for effective communication. So here the right answer is to specify the objectives of the communication should be the effective step for the communication. Okay. Next, effective listening includes filtering our points of disagreement, detailed analysis, attaching subjective meaning to a message, confirming one understanding of a message. See, filtering, you can't do it. Detailed analysis depends upon what circumstances it is. Attaching subjective meaning, it can't be. It has to be understanding of a message, the confirmation of one's understanding of a message. So that is the right answer. Next, which of the following explains feedback? Nonverbal communication, environment noise, verbal and nonverbal responses, verbal communication only. So if you see the options over here, and if you understand the right answer, see, nonverbal and verbal, individually they are not an environmental noise. So definitely the right answer is verbal as well as non-verbal messages or responses are a part of what? Feedback. Next. Now this, if you remember, we have done this questions. Again, I have included in the today's mock test also together so that it will be easier for you to remember. For which of the following talks about chromics? Chronomics, that is nothing but it talks about smell. Sorry, it talks about time. Okay, the right option is time. Next is, in communication process, a receiver is a channel. He decodes the message, is the person who encodes the message, is responsible for message interferences. Okay, in a communication process, a receiver is one who decodes the message, decodes. Okay, sender is the one who encodes the message. Okay, so just keep this in mind. These are all simple things, but you have to have a very fair, conceptually you have to be very clear with the things in order to have a right answer. Next, an example of a communication channel will be noise, context, face-to-face conversation, or feedback. Channel, so noise is not a channel, context is not a channel, feedback is not a channel. So it is face-to-face conversation. That is your answer. Option number C is your right answer. Next, the way one interrupts information around oneself. Okay, always negative, always positive, related to one's values, beliefs, and past experiences, none of the above. So obviously, this will not come. Your right answer will be related to one's values, beliefs, and past experiences. Next, listening. See this answer again. This question again we got it for the second time. Maybe complex process involving too many steps. In ways it was given in a different. Okay, complex to organized form, and now here they have given complex to which involves many processes. Next you have is one of the effective communication, one will be effective, uh, c- one will be an effective communication if one is a humorous speaker, historic talents, is clear with what he wants to communicate, and communication is one's mother tongue. Definitely these options are not, nearest option. So your right answer is it's clear about what one communicates. The next question is, communication will be effective if it is delivered slowly and clearly, if it is delivered in a calm situation, if it receives the receiver, if it reaches the receiver completely, if it reaches the receiver as intended by the sender. Intended का मतलब है जैसे सोचा था. So obviously, it's option A, B, and C is does not complies to the question. So it is Uh, a, B, and D does not complies to the question if it reaches the receiver completely. That is completely the way it has been, framed. Okay, not an incomplete message. So your right option is option number C. Next, a technique that might be used by an active listener is to paraphrase the speaker's meaning, express concern, explain the speaker's meeting, offer a viewpoint when in conversation. So a technique that might be used for an active by an active listener. So that is paraphrase the speaker's meaning. Okay, specify or clarify the meaning uh, given by the speaker. Next, effective listening includes filtering of the points, detail analysis, attracting subjective meaning to the message, or confirming one's understanding of a message. It's about what? It is option D, that is, you have to confirm the understanding of the message. So, option D is the right answer. Next, a classification of body movements. Where we studied chronomics, it's time, body movements is kinesis, okay? So the right option here is option number D, that is kinesis. Next, movements of the face that convey emotional meanings are movements of the face, displays, emblems, eye contact, or none of the above. So that is what, which is one, displays the movements of your, emotionally. So what is displayed is, is the moment of the face. So the right answer is option A. Touch is an important element of what? Business communication, interpersonal, intra, or none of the above. None of the above will not come. Intra is single, no. Business, no. So it is basically between two people. So touch is an important element of interpersonal communication. That is your option B is the right answer. Next, while which of the following parts are of active listening? Eye contact, yes. Nodding, yes. Seeking clarification, yes. So answer comes to what? All the above. So that your answer for the right question for this question is all the above. An effective communication, here it is effective communication, does not require change in speech pattern, appropriate gestures, mastery of content, handsome personality. Definitely it does not. So it is handsome personality. That is your option number D. Okay. And the last question for the day, effective communication will make the receivers enjoy it, accept it, pass it, or think about it. If your communication is really effective, it will help the communicator, the receivers think about it, okay, analyze it and understand the meaning. So here this was the last question for the day. I'm extremely sorry for the day because there was some technical setup error in the setup of the slides. So next time I'll just be a bit careful. I couldn't find it, so just next time, so that because the answer immediately comes in front of you, you don't get time to think. So next time I'll just be careful with this arrangements of the slides. Maybe it was question. Noise is known as what? Is it a transmitting barrier? Is it a receiving barrier? It's a center barrier, or it is none of this. So noise is nothing but it is one of the barrier which is, which travels when the message is been sent and the message has been received. So yeah, the right answer, it means the noise is one of the transmitting barrier. Next question: which of the following is not the part of which of the following is not the part of information? Logical, formal, impersonal, or perception. So out of this, which of them is not the part of that is not the part of information? So the right answer is perception, because perception is, it's like you are thinking, you're not giving an information, but you are thinking something for your own. So perception is an odd man out. Just read the question very carefully. It is talking about what? It is talking about not the part of communication. Next, bright light in a classroom is a type of which barrier? Okay, is it a physical distraction? It's an emotional distraction. Is it a channel, or it's none of this? So definitely channel. And I mean to say, you have one of the answer out of this, that is, it's not a emotional distraction. Okay, it's not none of this. So your B, ideally B and D, it gets cancelled. So if you have a doubt between these two, okay, whether it's a physical distraction or it's a channel. So if you know that channel is a medium, okay, basically bright light is nothing but it is one of the physical distraction. Next, closed circuit television, that is called as CCT, is useful for what? Only for a restricted audience residing at a particular place, or it is for a large group of communication, only for poor students of the class, or it is for none of this. So definitely poor students will not come, so none of this gets cancelled. So you have an option as A and B, where you can read the question very properly and fine. So CCTV is basically a particular I mean, there's a circuit which is useful only for, restricted audience. It gets captured only within the space or area which it, it has its wavelength reaching. So definitely the option is your option number 1. Next, all are the examples of media of two-way communication. Media of two-way, okay, that is meeting, padiyatra, street plays, or procession. So out of these, all are two ways except one. So here, if you see public meeting, padiyatra, or street plays, or procession and rallies, where the people hear and listen. But out of this, only one in which people just listen, that is nothing but it is your option number C, that is street play. So here the right answer is street play. Next, listening to a lecture. Is it a informational listening, evaluative listening, empathetic listening, or it is none of this? So obviously none of this will not come. Okay, evaluating listening, you don't do it. So you have two options left, out of which, you need to remember very well. So listening to a lecture is not an empathetic listening. It is just called as what? Informational listening, where you get a information or knowledge regarding to the topic which you are listening for. Next, which of the following is not a transmitting barrier? Transmitting, physical distraction, emotional transfer, conflicting message, or channel barrier, which cannot get transfer from one person to another. So the right answer here is emotional transfer. You can't transfer the emotions, okay, from one person to another. So this is not a transmitting barrier. Next, if a student doesn't like his or her teacher and so he is never been able to understand the lecture, then it is known as what? Is it a lack of interest? It's emotional distraction, it's physical distraction, or it's lack of sensitivity. Teacher, if a student doesn't like her teacher, okay, so there is, there is no liking. There is casually no like. I mean to say, there is formally no liking for the teacher, and is never able to understand a lecture. So such type of distraction is called as what? Emotional distraction, because emotionally you are not able to bond to the people. I mean to say, whether it is your teacher or anyone else, so you're not able to have that emotional bonding, and hence it is called as what? Emotional distraction. Next, which of the following is not an element of communication? It's encoder, receiver, breakdowns, all are the elements of communication. So yes, we have encoder, we have receiver, we have breakdowns and communication. So ideally there is, nothing, all are the elements of communication, okay, is not is not. I mean to say here, this we don't know what is elements. Okay, so here all the elements of communication is the right answer. Okay, next, communication word is derived from which of form of a verb of which language? A form of verb from which language? Whether it is Latin, whether it's French, whether it's German or Italian. So the right answer here is Italian. Okay, so this is very factual. You have to remember this very well. Communication word is derived from a verb of which language? That is nothing but Latin language. Next. According to Berlo, communication has how many elements? I have taken this model in the last video also. That is in the last test also. This particular question was asked, but in a different way. So you have, if you know, sender, message, okay, channel, and receiver. So there are how many elements? Basically, there are 4 elements. So the right answer is option number 1. Next, informal communication within the organization. We have been seeing this question comes again and again. So you have to be very, very careful. Informal communication. Is it intrapersonal? No. It is interpersonal? No. It is intrapersonal? No. Is it a mass communication? No. So the right answer is grapevine. So your option number D is the right answer. Next, which of the following skills has the largest share in communication time in school and college? Okay, so in school and college, which plays important or the largest part? So normally in school and colleges, what we do, we listen to the lectures. So listening, reading, writing, speaking. So basically, what we do listening, and then only we can do the rest of the part. So which plays the largest skill? So that is nothing but it is listening. So the right answer is listening skills. Next, which of the following which of the following methods is most effective? Okay, here the question, which of the following methods is the most effective? Presenting writing material along with the film projector, multimedia, or cannot be determined. So cannot be determined is not an option. Okay, only presenting writing material definitely will not. Film projector, you don't have it everywhere if it is not possible. So the right method will be multimedia method. So the right answer is option number 3. Next, teaching on TV is superior to the classroom instructions because we very large classes are made possible and thus it is economically advantageous. Experts for teaching a difficult topic can be arranged and others can be benefited out of it. Teaching material can be filmed or reused, all of this. So if you read the instructions very carefully, yes, we have a right answer is what? All of this, because it's economical, beneficial, as well as it can be reused. So the right answer for this question is all of this. Next, the process of communication enhances through belongingness, yes. Security and freedom of making choices, yes. Informality of meeting and avoidance pressure, all of this. So yes, I mean to say the right answer here will be what? The right answer here will be all of this, because the process of communication helps us to enhance all the things, giving the belongingness, security, freedom, informality, and avoidance of the pressure. Next, which of the following doesn't come under lack of communication skills? Lack. See, please read the question very carefully where they, many a times they make you, they twist you the questions with such words. So weak reading and listening, weak professional and literal vocabulary, bad voice, or construction of listening. So here, which does not comes under lack of skills. Rest all are lack, but concentration of listening is what? Not a lack. So the right answer here is option number D. Next, communication means what? Is it exchange of ideas, transfer from one place to another to understand an idea? None of this. So if you see, communication is nothing but basically it is called as what? Exchange of ideas. So the right option here is option number A. Next, communication involves a series of what? Reaction, action, both A and B, and thoughts only. So definitely it is not only thoughts, it is reaction as well as action. So your right answer will be on both A as well as B. That is option number 3. Next, a message is what is actually transmitted, what a receiver actually receives, what a communication actually produces, none of this. So obviously none of this will not come. What a communication actually produces, okay, or what a receiver actually receives, or what is actually transmitted. So it's a message. We are talking about what? We are talking about message. So here the right answer is what a receiver actually receives is called as what? A message. Option number B is the right answer. Next, encoding is the formulation of messages in communicator's mind, the formulation of messages in receiver's mind, coding of whole communication process, none of this. So yes, this definitely cannot be the right answer. Okay, why? Because it's not about the whole communication process. Encoding, formulation of messages in the communicator's mind, encoding and then decoding is done. Okay, so it is the option, the right option is what? Option number 1, that is encoding the message in communicator's mind. Next, 21. That is, communicator is a person who initiates the process of communication, who completes the communication, who controls the communication process, and avoids the communication process. So, who is the communicator? The communicator avoids will definitely not come. Control will not come. Okay, initiates or completes. So if you have the choice between both, so your right answer is a one, which where the communicator initiates the communication process. He starts with the communication process. Next, a channel is what? Medium which carries the message. An agent who encodes or decodes all of this. So we don't have this because there is nothing called as agent. It is just represented as what? It is represented as the medium which carries the message. So the right answer is option number A. Next, which of the following mediums is most mechanical? Mechanical, it means where you make use of lot of tools or technological upgradations. So is it public meeting? Is it radio? Is it cinema? Or is newspaper? So if it is more mechanical and as per the technology wise regarding all the aspects, so it is none other than the answer is option number C, that is cinema. Okay, so right answer is option number C. Next, the reach of different modes of media is called as the reach of different modes of media. Is it media reach? Is it media access? It is media exposure or it is media effects? So here it is nothing but it is called as media reach. The answer is media reach. Oh, yeah, we have the question is different modes of to reach the different mode of media, that is media access to reach. It means here you can go and assess the things, not reaching. I'm extremely sorry, just correct me over here. It's not reach, it is media access. Next, an interpretation which occurs at any point of communication. Is it noise? It is barrier? It's distortion? Or it's all of this? So all of this is not the answer. So whether it is called a noise, whether it is called a barrier, or whether it is called as distortion. So the right answer for this is that is distortion. A, an interpretation which occurs at any point of, so it is nothing but it is called as what? Distortion. Next, free press theory prescribes that. This is one of the word in communication, free press theory. So it is basically about your views, about your opinions. So here, when any of the person who wishes to who is free to go with what he feels, here is called as what? Free press theory. So the press should be exempted from the tax, press should get free travel facility, or press should get free communication facility. Definitely these are not the right answers which you see. So it's about individual should be free to publish what he likes. Next, that is option number D is the right answer. Next, which we go, which of the following media can be used effectively in large group communication? Is it a television? It's overhead projector, video, or computer. So definitely video and computer are not the option. Okay, so right option here is the overhead projector, which we can use for the large group. Okay, to show the PPT, to show the slides, and with the help of that, your audiences can catch what you're, uh, what you want to communicate. Next, which process of communication is best for controlling noise? Saying don't talk, raising one's voice above student's voice, remaining calm and just looking at the student, continue teaching without caring for the noise. The best way to control us, definitely A and B are not option. But here the best option is you remaining calm and looking at the student. That will make them automatically control their noise, and you can start with your process of teaching. So the right option is option number C. Discussion in the class will be more effective if the topic of discussion is not introduced, stated before the discussion, written on blackboard, inform the students well in advance. So obviously not introduced and written on the blackboard are the not options. Stated before the start of the discussion or inform students well in advance. If you see the right answer from this, that is informing students well in advance, not stated before. Here they can't do anything. So basically it is what? Basically it is about informing them well in advance. Next, the communication which transpires inside a person. Inside. So within a person it's nothing but it is called as internal, mass or group. So it is called as intrapersonal communication. So your right answer is option number A. Next, rhetoric means it's like one of the effective communication to pursue it, to pursue someone. So is it an art of entry, source of possibility, both A and B, or none of this? So the right answer is source of pursuing. So that is, it's called as rhetoric communication. Next, poor ventilation in the class is known as computing stimulus, subjective stress, environmental stress, or none of this. Poor ventilation. So basically, it is nothing but it is the environment which is not allowing you to concentrate. So that is called as environmental stress. So the right answer is option number C. Next, which of the following cannot be used for deaf students? Is it blackboard, 3D hologram projector, the globe, or the microphone? So obviously deaf students, you will be not using what? You will be not using the microphone. Okay, this is the right answer. Next, all are the components of listening except hearing, being attentive, attending, answering, understanding, and remembering, which are the not all are the components of listening except components of listening. So except what? Answering, which does not falls under the category of components of listening. It's answering, it means you are speaking. So the right answer is option number C. Next, the carrier of mass communication is mass media, print media, electronic, or none of this. So basically the carrier of mass communication is none other than it is called as mass media. Okay, the option number A is the right answer. Next, social responsibility theory of press is based on what? See, social responsibility. Media serves essential functions in a society. Society is responsible for the function of press should perform social duties, none of this. So basically it is society who's responsible for the what sorry it is basically it is media which serves an essential function in the society, social responsibility. So media that serves an essential function, it means they take the care in the society about do's and don'ts. That is media which serves essential function in the society. Next, communication research undertakes specific study, normal study, general study, or none of this. So, if you see, communication research does not take any of this into consideration. So, the right answer is none of this. Communication is a process of process. What does it means? So, is it Sorry, here the answer is already reflected, but just read the question very well. Communication is a process. What does it means? It's an ongoing process, always in motion. It is hard to tell when communication starts and stops. There is no definite time. Communication is always moving forward and changing continuously. Yes, very true. So the right answer for this is all of this. Next, feedback is immediate reaction of receiver, response of receiver to communicator's message, analysis done by the receiver to communicator's message, none of this. Okay. So here, what is feedback? It's basically the process of communication which gets completed with the feedback. So it is nothing but it is the response of the receiver to response. Very, very important, to the communicator's message. So the right answer is option number B, that is response of receiver. Next, which of the following is not true about communication? It's systematic. Communication is a process. Yes, communication is a message and must have a meaning. So ideally, which is not true. So all are true. The right answer is option number D. According to Crowley, which of the following can be result of social isolation? Is it stress? Is it disease? It's early death or all of this? So any of these conditions will lead you to social isolation. You will be away from the people. So the right answer is all of this. Question number 42. Which of the following depicts the correct sequence? Message channel, receiver, encoder, decoder, encoder, message channel, decoder, feedback, encoder, channel, message, decoder, system, none of this. So the right answer for this question, none of this will not come. Okay, this also will not come. So whether it is B or C. So the right answer for here is B, that is encoder, message, channel, decoder, and then the feedback. Just remember very well, the message which passes through the channel decoded by the decoder, and then the feedback comes. Next, the communication between two individuals is called as what? Is called as intrapersonal, mass, inter, or group, between two people. So that is called as intra. When it is between within the self, uh, it is called as intra, and between two it is called as inter. So the right answer here is interpersonal communication. Next, the basic process of communication comprises of sender, message, receiver, channel, sender, channel, message, receiver, sender, receiver, message, channel, sender, message, receiver, channel. So if see, this is not an option. Okay, out of this, okay, this is also not an option. So here, out of A and B, what is the right answer? The right answer is A, that is sender, message, and channel and receiver. So sender sends the message by the channel, and the receiver receives the message. Next, which is the feedback in newspaper communication? Whether it is article, whether it is editorials or letter to editor or news. Feedback means when we read the article, we write back to them. So it is called as what? Letter to editor. So the feedback is in the form of letter to editor. Next, communication in classroom often fails because students are inactive, the teacher is monotonous, students have no interest, or there is very much noise. So this is not an option. This is not an option. Even this is not an option. So it's about what monotonous. It means the same volume, the tone. So that makes the class very, often the communication fails. So the answer is that is option number B. Next, major limitations of mass communication is it's very costly, the feedback is weak, more time is required, and the success depends upon the producer. But the major, all are feedback. But what is the major is that the feedback is weak. It's very, very weak. Okay, there is no guarantee of feedback coming in such type of communications. Next, the most powerful barrier of communication is noise, confusion, disturbance, or lack of teaching aid. So, the most powerful barrier out of all the four is confusion on the part of teacher. If the teacher gets confused, definitely the students cannot be, uh, very well versed with the knowledge. So here the right option is option number B. Effective communication will make the receiver enjoy it, accept it, pass it on to the others, or think about it. So basically, effective communication enjoys, the way the communication receives, the communication is done and provided to the receiver. So that is the option number A is the right answer. Next, communication will be effective if it is delivered slowly and clearly, if it is delivered in a calm situation, if it reaches the receiver completely, if it reaches the receiver intended by the sender. So here, what is its complete sentence receiver and the way it is intended by the sender. So the right answer is your option number D. Okay, so here let's start with our question number 1. Now, question number 1 talks about for effective communication, which of the following should be given priority. So if you want the communication to be effective, which things should be on the priority base, whether the selection of communication, whether the planning, whether the objectives or identification. So if you see, when we talk about planning, objectives of identification, ये सारा सब कुछ कब possible है? Only after selection of means of communication. So ideally आपको सबसे पहले क्या finalize करना पड़ेगा? It's your selection of means of communication, and then you can go with the rest. So here the right option is option number 1. Next, as a good classroom communicator, you are supposed to know your audience emotions, the silent cues, artful pauses, or counter arguments. So if you see the options, obviously arguments will not be a part of effective communication or a good communicator. Emotions, it's very difficult to come up with the right understanding of emotions unless and until you do not have a vast practice in it. Okay, silent cues will not give you any information. So आपको good communicator होने के लिए आपके पास क्या होना चाहिए? Artful pauses. ना artful, it means it's a skill. Okay, when to stop, when to go ahead, when to take a pause, how long to take a pause. So these things are very very important when you communicate in the class. You can't be like a bullet train. You can't be in a very slow motion. You have to understand the strength of the class, the capacity of the class, the students whom you are teaching, and accordingly you have to take care of your communication. So that is nothing but it is called as artful pauses. Okay, so the option is C. Next, in a lively classroom situation, there is likely to be occasional roars of laughter, complete silence, frequent teacher-student dialogue, or loud discussion among the students. यानी classroom में situation कैसी होती है? Roars of laughter, no. There has to be certain discipline. So this option gets, this option gets cancelled. Complete silence, definitely not possible. Okay, loud discussion, no, again is a part of it's not a part of discipline. So classroom situation basically kaisa hona chahiye, where there is a frequent teacher student dialogue. Okay, so it is interactive sessions but with a lot of discipline. So the right answer is option C. Next, what is the main objective and aim of provision for feedback? Now see how they have twisted the question. यहाँ पे उन्होंने सिर्फ इतना पूछा है कि feedback का importance क्या है, and then they have played with the words. So you have to read the question very carefully. So to make communication better by both of the ends, that is encoder and decoder, identify the defect. नहीं, feedback में defect नहीं होता है, defect find out करना नहीं होता है, modifications भी नहीं होते हैं, understand more about the content, no. So basically it is to to communicate better by adjusting both or knowing both the encoder and decoder. Next, communication helps in integration of the country, cultural promotion, entertainment, all of this. So basically communication helps in what? Unity, yes. It cultural promotion, yes. Okay, entertainment, yes. So it is basically it is including everything. So the right answer is all of this. So the option number D is the right answer. Next, a student helped teachers to solve the problem while the teacher was giving a lecture. इट मीन्स दैट टीचर ने कुछ एक सिचुएशन डिस्कस किया होगा या केसलेट डिस्कस किया होगा विच नीड्स टू बी सॉल्व ओके बाय द स्टूडेंट्स, लेकिन स्टूडेंट्स वो कब कर पाएंगे, व्हेन दे आर विच टाइप ऑफ लिसनर, empathetic listener, evaluating listener, realistic listener और informational listener. So when you get a problem या आपको कुछ problem पे you have to give your view, your suggestion, your solution, आपको बहुत carefully, you can't be a critic, you can't be an informational listener, you can't be very realistic, you can't be evaluating, so you have to think from all the angles and all the points. So here which type of listener you should be, you should be an empathetic listener. So that is option A is your right answer. Next, रिपोर्ट रिसीव्ड फ्रॉम योर सुपरवाइजर, एक रिपोर्ट रिसीव हुआ है विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू वर्क चेंज और वर्क प्लेस चेंज, यू डोंट लाइक योर सुपरवाइजर, you have trouble reading the objective of the report, दिस टाइप ऑफ बैरियर इज नोन एज ओके, यहाँ पे उन्होंने एक सिचुएशन क्रिएट किया है, एक सिनेरियो क्रिएट किया है, एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट सिनेरियो यू हैव टू आंसर द क्वेश्चन. सो आपके सुपरवाइजर ने एक रिपोर्ट प्रिपेयर किया है जो आपको पसंद, मीन्स यू डोंट लाइक द सुपरवाइजर, एट द सेम टाइम आपको रिपोर्ट पढ़ने में डिफिकल्टी हो रही है. Such type of barrier is known as what? Is it lack of interest? No. Is it lack of knowledge? No. Scenario, based on scenario. Is it lack of communication skills? No. It is what? Emotional distraction. Maybe you don't like the supervisor. You're not willing to. So it's called as what? Emotional distraction. Next, the right answer is option number D. नेक्स्ट, कम्युनिकेशन विथ ओन यानी खुद से, अगर आप खुद से कम्युनिकेट करते हो तो उसे क्या कहा जाता है? इज इट ग्रुप? नो. If it is, it's not more than two people. Grapevine? No, it's not informal and you require more people for this. It's a network, it's a snowball type of chain. इंटरपर्सनल एटलीस्ट टू पीपल चाहिए. तो ओन के लिए हम क्या, कौन सा कम्युनिकेशन बोलते हैं? इंट्रापर्सनल कम्युनिकेशन विथ ओन सेल्फ, विथ वन सेल्फ, विथ वन, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इंट्रापर्सनल. नेक्स्ट, which broadcasting system for TV is followed in India? Okay, whether it is NTSE, whether it's PAL, whether it's CCAM, or whether it's NTCS. So basically, ये थोड़ा factual question है, आपको थोड़ा अच्छे से याद रखना पड़ेगा. It is PAL, that is nothing but phase alternative line. Okay, it's an encoding system and it is used in broadcasting television system in many countries. One of them is India. So PAL is the right answer for this question. Next, chronological order of non-verbal communication की chronological order कौन सी है? Sequence क्या है? Okay, so the options are in front of you: sign, symbol, code, color, symbol, code, sign, colors, colors, sign, code, symbol, codes, colors, sign, symbol, sign. So the right answer is signs, code, signs, symbols, codes, and color. This is the right chronological order for non-verbal communication. Next is, which of the following statement is not connected with communication? जो communication से connected नहीं है. So read it very carefully. So if you see medium, yes, connected है. World is an electronic cocoon, connected है. Information is power, connected है. So telepathy is technological, ये connected नहीं है. So this is your right answer. That is option number D. Next, communication becomes circular when? Circular, see, यहाँ पे sender है, यहाँ पे receiver है. Sender sends a message to the receiver with the help of channel or medium. Okay, receiver को जब message मिलता है, okay, here it is sender encodes, receiver decodes. Okay, ना अभी receiver को वापस message देना है, तो ये होगा encoder और ये हो जाएंगे decoder. Okay, message वापस आ रहा है, it means it is in the form of what? Feedback. Okay, so communication becomes circular when the receiver, okay, becomes the encoder. Decoder है ना, तो encoder बन गए. So the decoder becomes an encoder. Okay, so that time the communication is called as what? Circular. Circular, cyclic in nature. So this is an right answer. That is, decoder becomes an encoder. Option number A. Next, which of the following telephonic conferencing with a radio link is very popular throughout the world? Okay, TPS, telepresence, video conference, video teletext. So now you know very well, okay, especially in this COVID situation, we have came very close to the technology. So obviously, the very close link, which is very popular throughout the world, is video conferencing. So the right answer is option number C. Next, the main objective of FM is what? So if you see the options: information, entertainment, tourism, entertainment, information, interaction, tourism, interaction, entertainment, entertainment only. So obviously kahi pe bhi tourism nahi hai. So this automatically gets cancelled. Only entertainment है नहीं, entertainment के साथ information है as well as interaction है. So the right option is option number B. Next, in communicating in communication, chatting on internet or chatting in internet is called as what? Is it verbal? No. Is it non-verbal? No. Is it grapevine? No. So the option left is what? It is called as parallel communication. Okay, which goes in a parallel form. Okay, chatting in internet is a parallel communication. So the right answer is C. Option number C. Then, in communication, a major barrier to reception of message. सबसे बड़ा barrier क्या है? Either it's its attitude, either it is knowledge, either it is education or income. So if it is not all, okay, it is the main barrier is the attitude, because it's very difficult to understand the attitude, to change the attitude. So the most important barrier is what? The attitude. See, knowledge you can gain, education you can take, income you can increase, but attitude, it's what which cannot be changed. So this becomes a challenging barrier. So the right answer is option number A. Next, postmodernism is associated with what? Modernization is reflected at which of the following? See, the options आपको दिए हैं, आपको उसमें से ही modernization choose करना है. So obviously, radio, magazines, newspapers were the source of communication in olden days. तो अभी modernization में क्या आता है? It's television. I mean to say, you have given either the television will not be a right answer when they give all the modern ways now, but earlier days, I mean to say in mid centuries, uh, y- uh, when radio, television and newspapers became old, it was what which was replaced, that is television replaced all of them and took the uh, the crown of becoming the postmodernism in communication. So right answer is television. Next is didactic communication is what? Is it inter organizational relation? It's always remember one thing. It is a two-way communication. So it will be what? It will be always interpersonal communication. So the right option is option B. Next, in communication, language is what? Non-verbal, verbal, symbolic, or it is iconic. So always we have done this in our revision lectures also. So communication में language always represent क्या करता है? It's a verbal code. Okay. Next, there is an assertion and reasoning which I keep on always telling you. आपको सिर्फ क्वेश्चन पे फोकस करना है. You don't have to put your suggestions or views on this. Okay, so what is the assertion? The assertion is mass media promote culture of violence in the society. Yes, if mass media is not projected in the right manner, it promotes violence. तो उसके लिए रीजन क्या दिया है? बिकॉज वायलेंस सेल्स in the market as people themselves are violent in character. No, this is false. And this is what? This is true. So both are true will not be an option. But A is true. So both are false is also not an option. So the right answer is what? The right answer is option number C. Next. Media exist in an interconnected series of communication. Points are referred as interconnected, which are connected to each other in the form of network, in the form of a chain. So it's, is it network, is it connectivity, it is nodal, or it is multimedia? So it is networked. Okay, interconnected. See, the word itself is hidden in the question. So interconnected, so it's called as what? Network. Okay, next. The information function of mass communication is described as information function. वो इंफॉर्मेशन हमें जो दी जाती है विद द हेल्प ऑफ मास कम्युनिकेशन, उसका मेन फंक्शन का फंक्शन क्या है? इज इट डिफ्यूजन, Is it publicity? Is it surveillance? Or it is diversion? So basically it is what? It is surveillance. Okay, it is just to keep a watch. Okay, so the right option is surveillance. Next, an example of asynchronous medium. Now see, we have two medium, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous, it means which is live. Okay, asynchronous, it means which is, which is referred afterwards. So like for example, if I am telecasting this video and live, your live, and it is going live and you're watching right now, it will be synchronous. But if you watch it as per your convenience whenever you want, it becomes what? Asynchronous. So the here the example is, general example is what? Newspaper. So here the example of asynchronous medium will be newspaper. That is option D. Okay, next. A message beneath a message is called as what? A message below a message, below. So when we, if you remember, if you see, we have been drawing the family trees, or the flow charts. So this is a message beneath a message. Okay, so suppose if there are three sub messages, one, two, and three. So it will be called as what? It will be sub. So it will be called as what? Subtext. So the right answer is option number D. Next, in analog mass communication, stories are analog. It means the one which is, one way. Either they are static, dynamic, interactive, exploratory. I have already said it's one way. So it means वो कैसे होंगे? वो static होंगे. Static यानी constant एक ही जगह पे, which it's not stop, but it is, it's constant. Okay, so they will be called as what? They will be called as constant. Next, public communication tends to occur within a more either complex, political, convenient, or formal structure. So public communication कैसे होता है? It's convenient. So it depends upon, when you need more amount of people, more amount of resources, so you do it as per the convenience. So it is called as what? Convenient structure. That is option number C is the right answer. Next, transforming thoughts, ideas, and messages into verbal and non-verbal sign is referred to as what? Ideas, transform karna hai thoughts, ideas, and messages ko. So it is, from either into verbal or non-verbal. So it is basically called as channelization. So it's not mediation, it's not encoding or decoding. It is called as what? It's called as channelization. So that is option number A. Next, effective communication needs a supportive economic, political, social, or multicultural environment. Always remember, effective communication needs a social environment, societal environment. So here the right option is option number C. Next, a major barrier in transmission of cognitive data, cognitive which we think from our brain, from the mind. So here the major challenge will be what? Either, to personality, no; expectation, no; status, no; coding ability. Unless and until you do not code it correctly, it will be a challenge. So here the right answer is what? Option number D. Next, when communicated, institutionalized stereotypes becomes what? Okay, either it becomes myths, or it becomes reasons, or it becomes experiences, or it becomes convictions. So when communicated in institutionalization, stereotypes. Okay, okay, stereotype, it becomes what? It becomes an experiences. Okay, they are not the reasons or myths or convictions, they are the experiences which the person has experienced either on his own or through his observation. So the right answer is C. Next, in mass communication, selective perception is dependent on the receiver's what? यानी communication में selective perception is dependent on what? Competence, predisposition, receptivity, ethnicity. So it is what? It is basically receptivity. Okay, so it is it depends upon what? It is depends upon the reception. Okay, that how you receive it. So it is receptivity. The right answer is option C. Next, video conferencing is classified as which type of communication? Is it visual? Is it audio one way, audio visual one way, audio visual two way, or visual two way? So it is basically audio visual two way. Okay, video conferencing. You can see, you can speak another person or that end can see and speak. So it's audio visual two-way. That is option number 3. Next, what is the term DAVP stands for? Directorate of Advertising, Vocal Publicity, Audiovisual Publicity, Advertising and Visual Publicity. So it is basically advertising and visual publicity. So just keep in mind, they will give you the confusion things, to make you confused even if you're perfect with the concept. So just read the question carefully and the options. Okay, so option 4 is the right answer. Next, the term TRP is associated in TV show stands for what? It is nothing but it is called as television rating points. It's called as TRP is nothing but television rating points. That is the full form of TRP in TV, which stands with, TV. Then next, conversing with spirits and ancestors is termed as what? When you converse with spirits and ancestors, is it called as what? So now you know this types of communication. आपको मैंने सिखाया था intra is with what? Oneself. Interpersonal is it with two people. Face to face it is, in with the people face to face. So these three are definitely not there. So which option comes with, right options? So it is transpersonal. That is option number A. Okay, next one. Classroom communication of a teacher rests on the principle of what? When the teacher communicates, it's on based on which principle? Infotainment, edutainment, entertainment, power equation. So it is basically on what? It is basically education and entertainment. So the answer here falls as what? Edutainment. That is education as well as entertainment. So the right option is option number B. Okay. The next question. Communication via new media such as computer, teleshopping, internet, mobile telephony is based on what? It is based on, it's nothing but it is all interactive communication. You interact with each other. Okay. That is option number B. Next, dash is important when a teacher communicates with her student. So how when the teacher communicates, it should be sympathetic, it should be empathetic, it should be apathy, or it should be antipathy. And antipathy, okay. So what exactly it should be? So you know very well that both from both the ends, whenever there is a listener, the listener has to be empathetic, okay, supportive, caring, attentive. So it is empathetic. So the right answer is what? Option number B. Next, telephone is an example of what? Linear, non-linear, circular, mechanized. Okay, be careful. Telephone is linear. It's one-way communication, one way. Okay, so telephone becomes what? Telephone becomes a linear. Sorry, it's a communication in the form of one way. So it is what? Telephone is an example of linear communication. Next, means of grapevines are. So grapevines, we know that grapevine is nothing but it is which type of communication? It is not a formal, not a critical, not a corporate. It is an informal type of communication. That is option number B. Next, communication issues at international level. Now they have given you four organizations. ILO, International Labour Organization, no. ITU, it stands for International, I mean to say, ITU is an international union with respect to communication. When I'm talking about ITU, it is that type of union which take care of technologies, okay, or which take care of communication technologies with respect to, with respect to as an agency. ITU, that is, it stands for International Telecommunication Union. Okay, so they do not they are established, one of the organization as an union to take care of telecommunication. But if you want to solve the issue at international level, so they are not useful, they can't do it. UNDP, that is United Nations Development Program, no. And UNESCO, that is United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural organization, which is an agency in order to bring peace in the country. So UNESCO is the one which takes the issues at an international level. Next, Referential framing used by TV audience connects media with. Okay, TV audience, it connects media with what? Reality, falsity, negativity, or passivity. So yes, for TV, it is what? It gets connected with reality. So option number A is the right answer. Next, the communicated knowledge in a classroom is considered as what? Non-pervasive, limited, autonomous, or cultural. So here, the communicated knowledge in the classroom is always considered as a cultural capital, where we have students from different culture. Okay, they come together, they exchange their thoughts and views. So it is always the cultural capital. So that is option number D. Then, classroom communication is normally considered as what? Effective, affective, cognitive, or non selective. So, just now we did one similar question on this. Classroom communication is always considered as what? Cognitive, which goes with mind. Okay, next. You have the next point is, in the digital era, there is a fear that classroom communication may result in passive, quick stimulation or overstimulation. So as per the growing digital era, it may result into what? Overstimulation. Okay, uh, overstimulation is an example of this digital era. Next, negative criticism is an element of what? Negative criticism is an element of classroom communication which will lead to, either it will lead to external empathy, justification, defensiveness, demotivation, or supportive learning, or confrontational empathy. So, no, negative criticism in the classroom will lead to what? Yes, justification, it will lead to defensiveness, it will lead to what? It will lead to support, sorry, it will lead to demotivation. Okay, so A, B, and A, C, D, are the options which will be the correct option for this. So that is your option number 1. Next, the rhetorical approach in classroom communication considers teachers as dash agents of the student. Okay, the approaches where there is a type of a turning point, a influencing power, a persuasion power. So it's basically what? It is basically influencing agents of the students. Instead of influencing, you may also get pursuing. अगर आपको यहाँ इस जगह पे pursuing आ रहा है तो भी the word will be correct. Okay, next. To communicate well in the classroom in a natural ability is the assertion. Reason is effective teaching in the classroom demands knowledge of the communication process. Yes, you require knowledge, true. But here they are telling that it's a natural ability. No, it's a false. Okay, you can learn it. You can do it on your own. You can progress it. You can develop according to it. So A is false and R is true. So A is false and R is true. So both are true, no. Both are true, no. A is true, no. So A is false and R is true. So the right answer is option 4. Next, classroom communication is a transactional process. Okay, and reason for that is a teacher does not operate under the assumption that students' responses are purposive. So yes, classroom communication is a transactional process. Yes, true. And teacher does not operate under the assumption that students' responses are purposive. It may or may not be purposive. So R is what? R is false. So both are true is not a right answer. Okay, A is not false. A is true, whereas R is false. So the right answer is option 3. And the last one, which of the following is not a principle of effective communication? Not a principle of effective communication. Strategic use of grapevine, yes. Pervasive and convincing dialogues, yes. Participation of audiences, yes. One way transfer of information, no. It should be how? Two way. So, which is not the principle? That is one way transfer of information.